Bring it on.
Oh, a little bit of bonus Ted there right at the start. I don't know where that came from. Ooh, hey everyone, hello, welcome, it's Fox. And at least Fox from eModels there, I don't know why. It's Fox from Model Making Guru here. Hello, welcome to another last minute live stream where I'm just doing a live stream for the sake of doing a live stream. It gets me at the bench. It serves two purposes. First and foremost, I'm in the real depths of a building and modelling slump at the minute where my mojo has just gone out the window for the last few weeks and it's been a real struggle to get to the bench. And doing this forces me to get to the bench, so it gets me some work done. Not necessarily the work I need to be doing right now, but it's doing some work. And also it gives you guys a chance and a place to hang out with your friends, especially right now in the middle of Chocolate Velociraptor 19 pandamoomin. It's a place for us all to hang out or have, conversations with our friends because we're all stuck indoors for a lot of us. Well, not all of us, but most of us. We're all stuck indoors 24/7, getting on the nerves of all our family members, and it's all carnage and everything's on fire. And this is a place for you guys to hang out and have a good time. Hi, Mama Fox.
Hello.
And Mama Fox just going past there. And yeah, so it's a chance for you to hang out, and it serves, like I say, two birds with one stone. One, it gets me at the bench, because right now at the minute, and I know a lot of you have said the same things, I'm in the real depths of that kind of slump where I've just got no desire to do anything. I've got my big falcon to do, I've got these to do, I've got loads of other things, and it's just a real struggle at the minute for various reasons that I'm not going to go into, various reasons, just to get to the bench. So this helps me because it gets my creativity juices flowing, it gets me doing stuff at the bench. So welcome. Before we get going, big shout out, as always, very quickly to all the people that make these streams possible and this content and this channel. First and foremost, my beautiful patrons, my Patreon supporters. That's at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. They pay my wages, they pay the bills, they keep the lights on, they keep the food in my belly. So massive thank you to my patrons, and also to my two stores and businesses that sponsor and support me. That's of course emodels.co.uk and Goblin Gaming. Links for both of those are in the description below this video. Do check them out. They're awesome online stores. And basically between the two of them you'll get everything you need, and you get nice big discounts on both of them. So do go and check out the links in the description below to both of those stores because they also make all this possible. Anyway, we're going to be cracking on. We've still got more Space Marines to do. I'm cracking on with the Warhammer Conquest part work still. We're still on issue 56, I think, which is a group of Space Marine reinforcements. We've built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. It's taken me forever. We've got 2 more to do, and then we'll move on to the next issue, which is more Space Marine reinforcements. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just going to adjust my center marker there because it did disappear and I had to replace it while the camera was rolling earlier. So where's the center of the screen? It's about there. There we go. Always have a center marker, peeps. It's always a good idea. Also, as well, today I'm trying something. I'm trying some different camera settings. You can see here, I don't know why I said you can see here, you can't see my camera because it'd be impossible. I'm trying some different camera settings, some different codecs and different frame rates and stuff like that. So I am trying some different settings that I picked up on. I saw a thing saying these are better settings for your C920, so I'm trying it out. It should hopefully look a little bit clearer and a little more colourful. I'm trying some different colour settings and some different software encoding settings, so let me know if it looks like absolute butt cheeks and garbage. Let me know and I'll change it back, but do let me know. Hopefully you can see and hear everything okay. I'll have a quick look through the chat. We'll have a look and see. Now I don't know how long we're going to go for today. I'm not having my dinner till 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, so it could go for hours, could go for half an hour, depends. See how long we go on. I am here basically just to give you guys a chat to hang out in. Guthorm says hi as well. Guthorm will keep an eye on the chat, but very quickly we'll have a look at who's in chat. First comment I see is David Sanderson saying, I can't keep up with all these live streams. I know, there's millions of them. We're all doing our best to give you a place to hang out, basically. You're gonna hear this, but it's doing my head in. I'm gonna adjust the fluffy thing on the top of my microphone. It was bugging me because it had like a big dimple in the middle of it where I'd obviously knocked the microphone, and I had to fluff it to make OCD was there. It's like imagine like a bear skin, like a Queen's Royal Guard, the big bearskin hat, and there's a big handprint in the middle of it. You have to go and fluff it to get rid of it. That's what it was. It was bugging me. Yeah, David Sanderson says I can't keep up with all the live streams, and Paul at Team Inept says I can solve that with a banning. Paul at Team Inept is in, of course, one of your mods, and Dad. And Chris at Gross Models, I think, as well, later on. Your mods are lovely, fluffy little forest creatures that are big, massive eyes and little tiny, fluffy things. They're totally adorable. They make little high-pitched noises, and they're really sweet and lovely, and they'll keep you safe in the chat. But if you cross them, they'll throw you into the sun. They have a giant catapult, and they'll throw you into the sun where you will melt and burn and die. So don't cross them. It's a really bad idea. We have Candy Ground for Mongo, David Sanderson, Nat Williamson, Christopher C. We have Wendy Hickson, welcome Wendy. Phil Bolton, into Donate 88, Ickle Pete, Nat Williamson, Frankie Goes to Hobbywood, hey Frankie. Andy McLeish, Ickle Pete. Jamie Bone is in. Frankie Goes to Hobbywood says Fox Bundeswehr. Yeah, there's a comment in the chat. It's very cold today, and I said in chat earlier on, it's so cold that I've had to do up my shirt. I don't normally wear my shirt done up, but it's a Bundeswehr, it's a German army shirt. I've got loads of them. Old vintage. I think this is a 1977 one. They're great shirts because they're great shirts. I was wearing it yesterday. You saw the green material on screen, but they're great shirts because they last for 100 years. They're just real hard-wearing, durable shirts, and they cost, mere pounds. And cool, they look cool. So yeah, I've got loads of Bundeswehr shirts, and I've had to do it up, and civilians should not wear these shirts done up. Andy McLeish got a package from Dad. He got a Dad box with Dad things in it. So we do want to know what you got, Andy. You need to tell us everything you got in the Dad box, the Dad things. We have, let's have a look what else we've got in. Beyond Hope is in. Beyond Hope seems to think he's going to be hiding at the back of the room, not really doing much. Nonsense. Nonsense. You can join in the chat, like everybody going to force you to join in. Everybody say hello. Everybody stop doing what you're doing. Turn around, look at Beyond Hope and say hello and welcome Beyond Hope. Please join in the conversation. Everybody do that right now. In chat, obviously. You can't hide in. There are no corners in my live streams. We're actually in a sphere. My live streams are actually in the form of a complete perfect sphere. There's no hiding places. Also, a perfect sphere gives you great base response, but there you go. Where are we? I lost it there. Why are we getting multiple versions of O Canada, says Paul? Because the way I've got these specific these last minute live streams set up, these particular lockdown live streams, I have to press a button to get the lockdown title card, because the actual title sequence has the original last minute live stream, and I have to press a button to make the new title screen pop up, but my buttons decided to fail just before that point, and I was like, oh, and I had to reboot my buttons, and then it started the new live stream, so I was like, oh well, never mind. Technical reasons. Frankie says, Bundeswehr stuff, Canadian Anthem Fox seems to be a multi-culti. Oh, yeah. Bundeswehr stuff because they look great and last forever. Canadian Anthem because it's just the best national anthem in the world. There's no anthem better than O Canada. Sorry, O Canada. Nat Williamson, Edward Leonard is in. Welcome, Edward. We have Reborn in Rationality, Deja Vu, hail. Noise Pollution Conspiracy. I just picked up my book and then got a notification about the stream. Book was put down. Is the right answer. Huge hands. Trying the camera a bit closer in today, just so you can see a bit more of the tiny little army dude action going on. No fluffing or monetization goes, says Paul. Yes, slightly. David Sanderson. Oh, damn it, I thought Team Annette was Chris too. Sorry, Paul. No, Chris only ever signs in as gross models. Dad's not fluffy, says Jamie Bone. I don't know about that. Hello and welcome at Beyond Hope. Hope you can't hide, so you will join in. A padded sphere, no less, says Paul. Everybody's saying hello to Beyond Hope. Right, we have information on the dad box that contained dad things for Andy. Noise Pollution Company says, oh crap, wrong account, hold on, it's Raging Bassist. I did wonder, I hadn't heard the name before. Yes, Andy McLeish says, the dad box contained the following dad items: 3 times dad pens, 3 times Vallejo Air Red, so Vallejo Air paints reds, and some stickers. Yes, awesome. Nice to get a dad box. Cup of coffee. Now, it's a normal size cup today because I've also got water to drink as well because I didn't have enough time to make a big coffee. I forgot, and I already had that coffee going, so hang on. I've got to unleash the back. I've got a right shoulder blade itch. Oh, that's good. Oh, there we go. Hit the spot. Oh, if you haven't got a back scratcher in your life, I have to tell you this. Because Mama Fox, about 6 months ago, about 6-8 months ago, for no reason at all, Mama Fox got me a present. She said, I've got your present, I've ordered it. And it turned up and it was a back scratcher. And you might think that's a rubbish present. But I've got to tell you, back scratcher, best gift you will ever receive. Trust me on this. Trust me on this. When I go to bed at night, On the side there where the bed is, I have my phone for my alarm that I don't really use very often, so I don't really often take it. I'll have my phone for my alarm and my back scratcher, because there's nothing worse than waking up at 3 in the morning with an itch right on the bit of the back that you can't reach when you're lying down in bed. It's a real nightmare. So when you go to get yourself back, that is the best gift anyone's ever bought me. Back scratcher. It's just fun. And the other thing is, when you take the rubber bit off the end, hang on, if I can do it, it makes the best noise. Are you ready? You ready for this? I'll do it near the microphone so you can hear it. Ready? Oh, hang on. It didn't do it. Hang on. Ready? Oh, it's not doing it. I've not extended it fully. Hang on. There we go. Ready? Ow. Try again. Oh, it's not doing it now. All right, I've broken it. Never mind. The acoustics are wrong. I'm in the wrong room. It makes a nice pop sound. It's great. Anyway, nonsense. Let's move on. Fox, are you still drinking the skimmed milk? No, that's gone. That's long gone. Bye, Chris. There's something. Gross model says, humph. Why does gross models... I shall sign in with whichever account I like, says Chris Williams, then is prompt... I'll just start that again. I shall sign in with whichever account I like, says Chris Williams, and then is promptly booted out by Paul at Team Inept. So Chris then signs in as Gross Models. Hey, Chris. Andy McLeish says, boing. Yeah, Ineptception. I am Paul and I don't deserve the banhammer, says Paul at Team Inept. Somebody please, oh, that'd be great. If mods could block mods. TK's in. Hey, TK. Another one of your lovely, fluffy mods. And TK is fluffy, trust me on that. I am Chris and 22... Hang on. Start again. I am Chris, and 2,998 of my subscribers are me. It's cruel, a bit harsh. Right, so we're going to crack on with some more Space Marines. We are on issue 56 of the Warhammer Conquest partwork. If you're not familiar with this, very quickly, it's a monthly magazine subscription partwork where you get 4 magazines each month. And in each magazine you get all the bits and bobs needed to build up 2 armies, a Space Marine army and a Death Guard army, over the course of 80 issues. Now I've had all 80 issues now, so what I'm doing is slowly working my way through all the buildy parts. And then once I've got everything built and done, I can crack on with getting them painted and getting that videoed and painted and filmed and everything else. And of course, like I've said many times before, big massive thank you and shout out to George, who makes this entire thing possible, because it's because of George's massive kindness that I'm even doing this project and getting these things. So we are splitting this at the end. I will get the Death Guard and he will get the Space Marine army. So massive thank you to George for making this possible. He's a lovely fella. He's a lovely little fella. He's also been very poorly, so get well soon, George. Hope you're feeling better. Right, this may be another stumbly sweary arm one because it's got a little fudgy arm on it, so never mind. We need, where are we up to? 21, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. More parts than normal for this one. Okay. 19 to 25. There we go. I do like custard cream, says Chris at Gross Models. Can somebody time him out just for that? Because custard creams are foul. Custard creams are nonsense old ladies middle class biscuits. Not suggesting anything, but Fox can time out mods. I would never do that. Basis says he's getting a brew. He only has biscuits, custard creams and digestives, both of which are rubbish. You need to sort that out, dude. You can't have just custard creams and digestives, because that's just, you're just turning into a vicar at that point. It's not acceptable. Paul Di Tommaso, just bypass me. I see how it is. Oh, hello, Paul. I didn't see you in the chat. I do apologise. Welcome, Paul. Did you say anything in the chat before? I do apologise. I was whizzing through quite quickly. A million apologies. If they're old lady middle class nonsense biscuits, they're surely perfect for you, model making guru, says Paul at Team Inept. Now, chocolate hobnobs, penguin biscuits. I'm not even looking at the numbers here. That just happened to be the right sprue. There we go. We've got 19. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. Yeah, these are all the right parts. Yes, in my world, it's chocolate hobnobs, chocolate digestives, bourbon biscuits, penguins. I like a nice penguin biscuit. Never go wrong with a penguin. And then meat, basically. The colour wheel of food is basically chocolate digestives, chocolate hobnobs, bourbons, penguins, meat. That's how it works. Colour wheel of biscuits. Science is based on science. Anyway, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. Do let me know if the audio and video is okay. Hopefully you are all well and coping. As we all know, we're all stuck indoors for a lot of us at the minute, so we are making do with what we can. Make do and mend. We're just cracking on, getting on with getting on. It's not the end of the world. Well, it might be, but it's not. Right, that's them off. Let's get off the little nubs. I has all the Tim Tams and coffees. Oh, I forgot Tim Tams. Although Tim Tams aren't readily available to me over here in the UK, but I will include Tim Tams in the acceptable biscuits list. See, Tim Tams don't taste brilliant by themselves, but when you combine them with the coffee, whether you do the Tim Tam Slam or you just have coffee and Tim Tams, that makes them nice. They're like, Tim Tams are a bit like penguin biscuits, but not as flavoursome. Tim Tams are almost like penguin biscuits, but made with American chocolate, almost, but not quite that bad. I don't want to insult the Australians in the audience. They're not quite as bad as American chocolate. Nothing is as bad as American chocolate. Americans excel at many, many things. Making chocolate is not one of them. I hate to say it, Americans, but you do suck at making chocolate biscuits. What's that saying? What about a chocolate puffin from the Orkneys? I don't know, is a chocolate puffin a thing? I do like puffin poo, but that's not really a biscuit. Nim is in, just waking up. Morning. Chocolate malted milk? No, that's still middle class nonsense because it's not proper chocolate. That's still old lady biscuit with the... Chocolate malted milk is an old lady biscuit with a hint of chocolate spread over it. I've given you the biscuits now. Chocolate digestive. Chocolate hobnob. Penguins. If you can get them, Tim Tams in your locality. Tim Tams. If in a pinch, I will allow Viscount biscuits. They are acceptable. They're not. You don't get them very often now, but Viscounts are acceptable. Oreos not acceptable. 2 reasons. 1, it's mostly biscuit. And 2, it's American. Where there is chocolate, it's American nonsense chocolate. So Oreos, no, Oreos are foul. I don't like Oreos at all. Can't stand. Don't know why people rave about them. Minging people rave about them in this country, and this is the country that's got chocolate digestives and chocolate and penguins. And why would people like Oreos? It's like saying, well, I know Ferraris exist, but I really like my Mark II Trabant. It's the best thing ever. Really? No, not. You know what I mean? Tunnocks, says David Sanderson. Yes, Tunnocks tea cakes are more than acceptable. I don't count them as biscuits, though. But yes. A nation that brings you haggis, whiskey, and Tunnocks tea cakes and Tunnocks caramel bars. You can't go wrong with a country like that. That country deserves your utmost respect. Paul Di Tommaso was asking Chris what brand the wooden kit is that he's building. If you've not been watching it, on Wednesdays, Chris on Gross Models does a Wooden Wednesday. He gets his wood on the internet, basically. He's building woodeny things, some puzzle things and some nice little weird little wooden constructions, mechanical things. Do make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget, of course, you will find that, although they don't shout about it, most of my mods, and a lot of people who actually hang out in the chat on my streams, do have their own YouTube channels. So whenever you get the chance, because we're all in desperate need of stuff to watch right now and places to hang out. If you do get a chance, click if you can, if it's in there, because it's not always there. Click the little 3 buttons you can see in chat on the side of everybody's comments, and it should say go to channel. Should do. They seem to not have that sometimes though. Do check out people's channels and like and subscribe. And don't forget, of course, do like and subscribe to my channel. Some golden rules for YouTube, and not just for my channel, but for any channel. If you like content and you want more, first of all, whenever you watch a video from a creator, always click the thumbs up like icon, unless it's complete garbage and you hate it, in which case don't, obviously. But if you've enjoyed the content and you like that creator and you want to help them out at no cost, click the thumb icon, the thumbs up, because you may not realize this as a non-YouTuber, but it actually puts their content higher up in the YouTube search. If somebody searches for their content on YouTube, it puts it higher up, gives them a better listing and helps them out, because then they might get more views. So always click the thumbs up on content of a creator that you enjoy their content. Second, subscribe, obviously, because then you'll see all the content. And last of all, hit the notification bell button and choose all. Now, it doesn't always work. YouTube are a bit broken, but theoretically, every time they start a new live stream or upload new content, if you go to YouTube and go to your subscriptions tab in the menu, you will see all the content of all the channels you've subscribed to. And a lot of us, when we do live streams, we'll put we'll set it up in advance on the day, like earlier in the day or the day before. And if you go into your subscriptions tab, you'll see there all the live streams from all the people's content you like, because we tend to put it up like the day before. So, like, subscribe, and hit the magical notification bell that doesn't always work. No, it doesn't always work, notifications. Sometimes it tells you the day after that they've done a live stream. Yeah. So it's not brilliant, but it's better than nothing. I don't think I've ever had a notification about a live stream, but I do check my subscriptions page every day. That's how I use YouTube. If you've never tried it, that's how I find content on YouTube, like, you know, from creators that I like. First thing I do when I go to YouTube, I don't go to the YouTube homepage, because trust me, nobody uses the YouTube homepage. Like, you know, the YouTube, not my homepage, the YouTube one. The first thing I do when I go to YouTube is go to the subscriptions list, just to see what channels I've subscribed to have put content up. And I can go, oh, I've got a video from this guy and from that person and from this channel. Brilliant. Well, I know what my watching for the day is going to be. And then if you click on the home option, that takes you to just things like recommended videos based on what you've been watching. And that you can find some useful stuff through there. But subscriptions, subscribe to channels you like. It's always the best way to keep up to date with their content. Because sometimes, you know, we will do live streams where we just start the live stream and don't bother putting it on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, because we haven't got time. If it's a true last minute one, we'll just blap it up. Excuse me. We'll just blap it up and you won't even know. For some reason you took the option away. It was far too easy, says Chris at Gross Models. I don't take any options away. Is that the go to channel thing? I don't know why that's disappeared in that case. Shouting. It isn't anymore. Okay, that must, yes, it must be the button that says go to channel must have been read. I don't know why. YouTube must have removed that. Seems like a dumb idea. Finn the Dude says, hello, just found this after searching the YouTube for Warhammer Conquest. There you see how every time I say to creators on YouTube, titles, text and tags, that's why titles, text and tags work. Welcome, Finn the Dude. Welcome, welcome. This is a live hangout. I am working on issue 56 of Warhammer Conquest, and I am slowly building all the dudes for that issue. And we'll probably be here for a few hours, so you're more than welcome to hang around and meet the nutters in my chat. Do join in. Everyone in chat is awesome and friendly, and they won't time you out too much. Well, they might. Do join in. Yes, that's why I'm always saying to people who want to do YouTube, titles, text, and tags. In the dude, this is how it works. You see, if you're out there and you're thinking of doing YouTube and you don't do it already, I've mentioned it several times. Don't just put a video up and call it. Of course, you've heard it before. Don't just call it my first tank build part 1. Like and subscribe. That's hopeless. That's never going to get you found by anybody unless they search for my first tank build. Always do titles, text, and tags. As much information, your titles, your text, and your tags as well when you're putting your video up. If you notice on this, I've forgotten what I called it now, but it probably says Warhammer Conquest in the title, because people will search YouTube for Warhammer Conquest and it goes off the title. It also says Warhammer Conquest in the description, because it uses the description text as well. And also in all the tags that I've added that you can't see, it will include Warhammer Conquest, Space Marine, Games Workshop, all that kind of stuff. Titles, text, and tag is, if you want your content to be found on YouTube, absolutely vital that you use titles, text, and tags. I can't stress it enough. Just having a title that says Tank Build Part 5 and a description that says My Tank Build Part 5, like and subscribe, and stuff like that. No, you need to pad your description field out with as much information as you can that is going to be stuff that people might search for on YouTube and in Google and other places. You need to pimp your shizzle. I can't stress this enough to people. If you want to do YouTube, you need to learn how to pimp your shizzle. If you just put a video up with no titles, text, and tags of any interest, nobody's ever going to find it. Nobody's ever going to find it. You have to get almost pimpy in your publicising. The go-to channel thing doesn't work anymore, says Frick. Yeah, no. It seems to have been removed. I don't know why. Philip Prime says, hi guys, just want to give a big thanks to everyone that took the time to join me on my live stream last night, even if it was just for a few minutes. Thanks, and it means a lot. You're more than welcome. Remember titles, text, and tag, Phil? Yes, Philip started doing a few little live streams here and there. And he started his live stream last night, and I'm like, have you pimped it in the boom hut? He's like, no, I've just done that now. So I had a look, and he put a message up saying, hi everyone, join my live stream at 8 PM tonight. But didn't put a link or anything. I think he was so excited. I'm like, bless. I'll put the link in the chat for you. All about pimping. Always pimp your shizzle. Even if you think your shizzle is no good, most of us do. No matter what you think about your own shizzle, it doesn't matter. Pimp it like it's the best thing ever made. Put links in as much as you can. Make it easy for people to find your stuff. Right, that's that done. I'm going to have to drill the barrel out. Let's see if Fox finds that left arm that fits the body for one of the two Marines you glued the last stream. No, says Mordraka. No, welcome Mordraka. I am making sure all the parts are the right ones. You saw me get all the parts out. You've joined me on every step of this as we've conquered this crisis. That's a bit of a misquote of Guilty Spark there, but never mind. Thy creator is in. Welcome, thy creator. Andy McLeave says Bork Bork. Got the last 2 issues last week, says Finn the Dude. Conversion aplenty, as I'm not doing them as Space Smurfs. No, I'm not doing them as Space Smurfs either, because I can't stand Space Smurfs. I can't stand Ultramarines. I'm actually splitting this with a friend. So I'm keeping the Death Guard, and he's keeping the Space Marines. Because he helped finance it. He's helped fund it. So he's getting all the Space Marine stuff. I'm building and painting it, but he's getting all the Space Marine stuff, and I'm getting the Death Guard. Now, he is, like me and you, a normal person. Therefore, he thinks the Ultramarines are just rubbish. They're just rubbish. Thanks, Matt Ward. They're just Matt Ward's Mary Sue Brigade, basically. So he hates them. So we're not doing them as Ultramarines. He hasn't decided yet how he's going to have them painted. I'm going to paint them for him. We've had a few ideas. He likes the Shanghai Dragons. The Shanghai Dragons Overwatch esports team, and I've done a model for him in their livery before, so they may be painted like the Shanghai Dragons livery. However, I was also building my own army in a Principality of Xeon from Mobile Suit Gundam colour scheme, and he now has the Imperial Knight and some of the Space Marines that I painted in that livery. He wants to get more when I do them, so he may take them in that livery instead, although I can't remember how I painted them, but yeah, I painted them to look like Zaku's. Or he may choose something else completely. He seems to like pink for some reason, so they might come out Hello Kitty. I could be doing him a Hello Kitty brigade of Space Marines. It's entirely possible. I have in fact purchased just recently 2 sheets of Hello Kitty decals for specific reasons. So you never know. We don't know. We don't know yet what he wants them painted as, but they will not be Smurfs. So yes, there will be a few of them where I have to carve details off the pauldrons and carve details off the shins and things. Because, yeah. Seriously, don't do Ultramarines. What's your page? Says to Philip Prime. What's your page? Says Tomcat to Philip Prime. Sadly, he can't post links in the chat. If one of the guys could... the mods can post links In fact, mods, if you want to, feel free to, you know, post your own links in there. And if any of you has a YouTube channel where you do your own stuff, let's do that today. Let's do that. Mods, I'm going to ask you a big favour. If you're in the... Okay, here's the easy way to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it now, but mods, if you've got a YouTube channel, put it in the chat, like what the channel's called. And if the mods can find it, I'll ask them to post a link, because mods can put links in chat. I'll ask them to put links if you can't do that button anymore. I won't do this all the time, but just for today, we'll do a pimping session. Because we're going to be here for a few hours. We've got to pad the time somehow. So if you do have a channel, put the name of it in chat, and I'll ask the mods to see if they can find it. Stick a link in the chat for you. Don't forget, of course, if you are new to this channel, I do run a Facebook group as well, the Model Makers Boom Hut, which is a safe space for modelers to post their stuff and show off their work and get good feedback and good constructive criticism. I'll put it in chat for you. Should be a link in chat if my button works. There we go. Yeah, if you've not joined it already and you're on Facebook, go and join it. It's a really safe space. We do encourage people to pimp their stuff in there. You can't buy and sell anything, but you're more than welcome to, you know, publicise your YouTube channel and so on. So do feel free. David Sanderson says, few pages on Facebook for Warhammer 40k models and most do Smurfs. I can't stand Ultramarines. They're just so boring. They're the poster child, but they're also just such a Mary Sue. Oh, look, they're the best and they're the strongest and they're the most powerful. Don't care. Not interested in Ultramarines at all. Mine are Space Wolf, says Finn the Dude. Already converted Calcius. Yes. I've not painted Lieutenant Calcium yet. I like Space Wolves. I have got a Shapeways set of bits for an Imperial Knight to convert it to a Space Puppy. Space Puppy's Imperial Knight. And I have built the Space Wolf Stormfang. That was great fun. Stuck a couple of Space Wolves Marines on the bottom. And I was sent a set of Space Wolves heads, you know, like the puppy head, Space Puppy head helmets, so that'd be good. Space Puppers, says Andy McLeish, yeah. Space Puppers. John Kenwood is in. Hi John. Paul at Team Inept has posted up Philip Prime's link to his channel. Yes, if any of you do have YouTube channels, and this applies to you as well, mod, you can pimp your stuff. If any of you have got channels and you can't post a link because you're not a mod, put the name of the channel in chat and put a capital words, what am I talking? I'm doing a TED, aren't I? Put it in capital, so not the link. Just say this is my channel, and then your link, and then the name of it, and then the mods can try and find it then for you. Thanks, mods. I haven't given you a choice, but thanks. Iru says, we Smurfs rule, bow to the Regent heretic. Nonsense. Iru clearly likes Space Ultramarines, and therefore nonsense. There'll be some fighting in the chat, I think. Ultramarines, no. Dad hasn't asked the question apparently, so he's slacking. So Nim Cinderin has said bench and belly times. Yes, always. You snooze, you lose, Dad. Yes, bench and belly times. What's on your bench? What you're working on, if you're working on a model. If not, what else are you working on? And if you're not doing something at the workbench, what else creative are you doing to keep yourself sane in this mad time? And belly, what are you having for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? I put that marker there and I keep not working in that spot. Sorry. Yeah, what are you going to have for your dinner if you've not had your dinner already? I mean, here it's only just gone 3 o'clock here, so it's not dinner times yet. Bench, of course, you know what I'm working on. Belly tonight will be some sort of cobbling together because we have to work off what food we've got in the cupboards. Because we can't go out. I can't leave the house. And neither can Mama Fox. So we have to work off what we've got. And it'll be some mixture of noodles, some kind of weirdly transparent noodles. We've got a big pack of some kind of noodles that are like clear. Quite mesmerising. Absolutely completely transparent noodles of some sort. Big fat flat ones. Not quite udon, but still flat. And a can of vegetable chilli. I don't know why Mama Fox wanted the stag vegetable chilli and not the stag actual proper grown-up meat chilli. But yes, it's actual stag chilli. Those in the UK will be like, get in. Stag chilli. It's like the Rustler's burger of the tinned chilli world. And also a pack of bolognese that you put into a pan with water and you make up. And it's actually vegetable. It's not it's a vegetarian. I don't know why, but I got 5 packs of it. It's actually quite tasty. And that's just to pad out the chili with a little bit of also not meat, I guess. Hey, I left it to Mama Fox. I let her choose. So, you know, we've got so much pasta and noodles and stuff. We've got so much sort of long shelf life dried food like pasta and noodles that, yeah, a lot of our diet at the minute is pasta, noodles and rice. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. And tinned curry, tinned steak, tinned meat, tinned beef, tinned anything. Irish stew, all kinds of things. Because when this all started, we just had to suddenly... We knew that we wouldn't... You know, we'd have trouble getting stuff because we can't leave the house. And I happened to have a slot at my local Tesco's for a delivery that week. So we just ordered as much as we could that would last us a while. So tin stuff, packets of stuff, dried stuff. Because there's no point ordering, like, you know, 3 loaves and a load of fruit, because it'll go off in a week and then you're screwed, you can't get more. So, yeah, so lots and lots of dried stuff. So that's what we're having anyway. Some sort of noodle chili with no meat in it at all, with extra bolognese also with no meat in it. And it's actually quite nice, I have to say. Now, we did the other day, we did, of course, get some... if you're in the UK, you'll know these. Some of the Morrison's boxes where they send you like a selection of random essentials. And I have to say, we've had the meat one. Meat one's great. Not just meat. You get like a loaf of bread. You get a thing of milk. Sometimes you get eggs. You get various bits and bobs. You get cabbage and onions and potatoes and some fruit of some sort. But we ordered the vegetarian one as well, just because, you know, we've had the meat one, but we want some variation. And we thought, well, the vegetarian one, you get a few more veggies in there, and that's quite nice because you can mix that with your meats. Just because we might get some different stuff. So we got the vegetarian one. And it was quite nice. You know, you got like the veggies and stuff, and you got some, you know, fresh fruit and things. We got some mangoes, which was really nice. 3 big mangoes. And we're like, the hell do you do with a mango? I've never had an actual mango. I had no idea. I just cut it in half and wondered why the centre bit was hard. I had no concept of what to do with it. It was like the first time a puppy sees a spider and goes, "What's that? I don't know what to do with it." I'm like, no idea. But we got this. We got 2 vegetarian nonsense things. I'm a carnivore, by the way. We got a pack of little party sausages that were not actual sausages, and we got a pack of like mince, but it wasn't mince; it was fake mince that you can make a bolognese out of. Now I have to say, the party sausages, despite being, you know, not actual meat, were really nice. They were quite flavourful, and I mixed them into something and fried them up, and they were quite pleasant. They were really nice. But the meat we got, the pack of like what looked like a pack of mince, was absolutely awful. I tried making an actual bolognese type, you know, with spaghetti and stuff, and I used this instead of mince. And like mince, when you fry mince up in the pan or you put it into your bolognese, it goes into little brown nodules and lumps, and that's how mince works. This stuff, when you try and brown it, it just becomes mush and like concrete, and it was horrible. It didn't taste bad, but its texture was horrible, and it did not behave like mince, and it was an absolute failure. So we won't be getting that again. It was not a pleasant thing. But the little party sausages, they were really nice. They just tasted like little party sausages, but they had a bit more of a... They actually taste, I'll be honestly honest, they actually tasted nicer than standard party sausages, or as the Americans would call them, little party wieners, I guess, little wieners. They tasted nicer because they'd overcompensated the flavour for not being meat, and so it actually tasted nicer than actual cheap, crappy party sausages. Right, let's have a look and see what Bench and Melly's doing. We have Raging Bassist. I have a channel, but don't really post model making stuff, anything to it. I was going to be mainly for music, but I'm looking at too many words. Just put the channel name, we'll search for it and we'll link it. Let the viewer decide if your content is good or not. Don't make any assumptions about your own content. That's how you end up never putting content up, by going, well, I don't really think I'm good enough. It doesn't matter. Whatever you put up, there'll be people that will love it. So there you go. Purge Maximus says Iru, because I don't like ultramarines. Nim says Belly, a bowl of cinnamon toast crunch. Bench, can't really work on anything right now. I stabbed my thumb at work last night. Oh, there's nothing worse. Is it in that place where you can't quite get a plaster or a gauze over where I hate that. I seem to have been developing little cuts and wounds on my hand. I think it might be the buckle on my belt has got a little sharp corner on it. I keep catching it. But yeah, I keep getting that, and it's always at the end of your finger where you can't quite get a plaster. It drives me nuts. Nat says, I know it's your strong point, Fox. I keep seeing the Gundam models on the Facebook pages and eyeing up possibly getting one at some point, but would like to know, are they overall difficult to build and paint? Not difficult to build at all. They're all push fit. There's no glue required. My carpet's catching. Hang on. They're all completely push fit. They are great fun to build. The only difference between things like master grade and high grade and stuff is the part count. They're all dead simple to build. They're dead easy. Even the most complicated one is absolutely easy to build. In terms of painting, that's a bit more challenging. Because they're meant to be posable with, like, you know, articulated joints and stuff. You've got a choice. You can paint them and keep them articulated, or you can actually stay sane and just glue all the joints into place into a fixed pose and then paint them. If you want to do a full paint job on them, I would strongly recommend you glue the joints into a fixed pose and forget about the articulation. The articulation is because in Japan a lot of kids build them and play with them, and that's why they're articulated, and a lot of them come with stickers. In reality, though, as a model maker, if you're going to spend hours and hours and hours painting it, the last thing you're going to want to do is move any of the joints and have all the paint scrape off. So they are easy to build. I absolutely recommend it. If you're a traditional model maker and you've never tried, it doesn't have to be Gunpla. You know, anything from Bandai. It could be Gunpla, it could be their Star Wars kits. Even if you're a hard-boiled, dyed-in-the-wool traditional model maker and you think that push-fit kits are children's rubbish, I do recommend it. If nothing else, Bandai push-fit kits are a fantastic palette cleanser, because the build is sublime. You just push them all together. Forget any push-fit kit you've ever made. Anything that's not Bandai that's push-fit is garbage compared. So trust me on this. Anything you may have made, like from Revell or anything like that. So even if you're a hardcore, top-notch, dyed-in-the-wool, you know, model maker, and you do your AFVs and your figures and all this kind of stuff, and it's all you like, all your kits with photo etch and everything else, just try one. Try a Bandai kit of some sort. Even if it's not what you want to do permanently, it's a great way to avoid burnout. If you've just come off the back of some really complicated TACOM 1/35th tank transporter with tank included, it's got 1 billion parts and tons of photo etch, it's got individual track links and all that kind of stuff, you know, if you want a little break, get yourself a Bandai kit of some sort. They're a joy to build. The build is literally push fit together. They're engineered to perfection. You can turn off your thinking and just have fun building them. And if you want to paint them, of course, you can do a full paint job on it. I do recommend it. The only thing to be aware of, like I've said many times, Bandai plastic is not like normal polystyrene. Their kits use a lot of other plastics as well, like ABS and polyethylene and things like that. So do check the instructions. If you're building a Bandai kit, you can't use thinned washes. The way you take a paint and thin it with thinners and make a wash, you can't do that. The thinners may damage the plastic. So the only thing you've got to be aware of, you can't just slap a Tamiya smoke wash or thinned paint wash all over it. You might damage it. So just be mindful of that. You can still do things like oil paint streaking and filters, because you're not slapping thinners everywhere. You're just using dampened brushes. But in terms of washes and things like that, you can't just slap ink in thinner all over it, because the thinners might dissolve the plastic. So that's any different. But yeah, even if you're a hardcore builder, they're just fun. Grab yourself a Bandai Star Wars kit. They're easier to get hold of in the UK than the Gunpla kits. Grab yourself a Bandai Star Wars. I strongly recommend the AT-AT, the AT-ST, or the Y-Wing. Are probably three of the best kits, the best Star Wars kits. They're quite big. Of course, you've got the 1/44th Millennium Falcon, which is quite nice, but it's only about that big. Or I'm doing the big perfect grade one that's 300 quid, so it's not exactly cheap. But yeah, they're Star Wars. We get a Y-Wing, X-Wings, they're all really good. And you'll just have fun. Because of their pristineness, we thought they might be difficult to pull off unless you're highly experienced. She says, no, they're absolute doddle to build. They're the simplest thing. It's just like Lego in terms of the build. There's lots of little fiddly parts sometimes, but they're not difficult. I would stick to, if it's for you or for Lewis, I'd stick to, say, Master Grade, because you have more fun and interesting. If it's for Connor or your daughter, whose name I do apologise, remind me of it, I can't remember. Connor and no, this is Sarah then, but that's Sarah Connor, that's Terminator. If it's for the littlies, then maybe HG kits, because they're a bit more of a straightforward build. Master grade might be a little bit more fiddly for him if he's only 5, isn't he? So starting with a high grade or something like that. Just because they're a bit more straightforward and simple. But yeah, they're absolute doddle to build. It's just painting them. If you want to paint them, it gets a bit tricky. Because you've got to... If you're gonna spend hours and hours and hours painting a Gunpla, there's no point worrying about the articulation. If I spend, yeah, I did a few for commission. It's like I said to the people commissioning me, if I'm going to spend 200 hours painting this, you're never going to move it. You're going to put it in the shelf and never touch it again. Because if you move that arm, you'll scrape the paint off and you'll be sad. And I'm not repainting it for you, not without more money. So yeah, I glue them all into a pose. Death so 0079, welcome Death, says bagel and cream cheese and just cracked open the Master Grade Jester. That's a good Gunpla kit to start with, the Master Grade Jester that Death 0079 has mentioned. It's a beautiful kit and it's really straightforward to build. Also, it's a variant of the Strike, which makes it perfect. Team Inept says they are incredibly easy to build. Bandai kits are joyful. I recommend getting an HG one to start off with. They're nice and simple to start with. Yep, you could start with that if you want to ease yourself in, but definitely for the kids, HG will be the way to go, not Master Grade straight away. For yourselves, you probably could start with the Master Grade, but maybe go in with an HG if you want to ease yourself in. They're also cheaper, so you can try it and see if you like it. Philip Prime. But Raging Basis says, bench hasn't changed, Mojo lost again, but the Dice Man, which I'm going to try and finish ready for Chris' stream tomorrow, and in my belly, crumpets. Oh, I haven't got... Oh. I always regret the bench and belly question because you always mention the things that I really want, and right now, of course, I can't get. God damn it. One thing that needs to be invented, somebody needs to invent a crumpet that has a massive long shelf life, because there's nothing worse. I'll go in a shop and I'll buy like 5 packs of crumpets or potato cakes. But I mentioned that myself. God damn it. And you get them and they go off the next day. They last about 5 minutes and you have to eat them all there and then, which is not a hardship. But even I have a limit of how many crumpets or potato cakes I can eat. Philip Prime says, modelling question. I've got some Vallejo acrylic. I'll start that whole sentence again. I've got some Vallejo acrylic plastic putty been applied to plastic figure now for 24 hours. It's dried rubbery. Is this normal? I've never used their acrylic plastic putty. I don't know if you have to mix. I don't know if it's a 2-part epoxy and you have to mix it all together to make it work. If it's dried rubbery, it may be old. I don't know. I've never used that putty, to be honest. You may have better results. If on figures and things, you may have better results with something like Milliput, which is a 2-part putty that you mix 2 equal amounts together. And then once you put it on and you can mould it and sculpt it with water. You can use tools and you can moisten it to shape it while it's moist. And then once it's dried, you can sculpt it and scrape it and carve it, and that's really good. Or Games Workshop's green stuff, the 2-part putty, that's not bad actually. It's alright. It's not brilliant, it's not the best in the world, but it's good. It's a simple little similar kind of thing. 2-part, mix equal parts together, sculpt and carve the thing you want, let it cure, and then you can sand it and scrape it. Those kind of little filler putties, I don't know. I've never used little putties like that. I use the Tamiya plastic putty ones, the thin ones that are like gap fillers. If that one hasn't cured after 24 hours though, it's probably just maybe a faulty one, or it's not gone on right or something. If their putties are anything like their primers, it's probably the putty. But I don't know. I've never used Vallejo putty. Anybody in chat who's used their putties before, then let him know. Paul says he's used it. I'll start that again. Paul says he's used it a lot and he's never seen it go rubbery, more dusty. It does depend what plastic you're putting it on as well. Some putties are designed to etch and bond with the plastic. If you put it on the wrong kind of plastic, it might affect how the putty cures. Like imagine if you put it on if you put it on, say, a vinyl figure, it may not be able to bond with the vinyl and it may fall off, or it may affect because vinyls tend to give off chemicals. Those chemicals may affect the putty and how it cures. If it's a standard polystyrene like Tamiya 1/35 plastic dude or something like that, then it might be alright. I don't know. It could have just gone off. I've got some Milliput that's about 3 years old and it just doesn't work anymore. It never cured because it was like out of date. They do go out of date. TK still working on the tiny X-Wing, a belly undecided, maybe chips. Apparently, TK, in your part of the world, the government's telling everybody to eat chips at least twice a week, I believe. That's the thing now, because there's like a bajillion potatoes in an enormous pile somewhere in the Netherlands. Nat Williamson, Belly, Mulligatawny Soup. Bench, Lewis built a new light box, so now getting caught up on my Peter Rabbit quilt sub. Cool. Oh, is that, and that's a Hachette, or is it D'Agostini? It's a like a partwork, isn't it? But to build a Peter Rabbit quilt. John Kenwood, Bench Magnavent Gantry. I've finished mine. I was building it the other week. I finished that now. It was the last 2 issues of Warhammer Conquest, so I did a special live stream when I started building it, and I got it finished off camera. It's in my cupboard at the minute. Andy McLeish says, "There goes my chat." Wait, Andy McLeish said. Andy McLeish said something. I've lost it now. Oh, Andy McLeish says, "Hi Nat, hi TK." Nat Williamson says, "What about the painting of them?" I assume that's the Bandai stuff. John Kenwood, Belly, a big steak pie, taters and veg. Oh, it makes me so sad because, like I've said this many times, but as I've got older, I've developed not an allergy, but I can no longer eat pies with pie crust because it gives me acid from hell. I can eat pies with the Filou pastry, Ponzi nonsense. So, like, I can eat those. I'm all right with them for some reason, but the proper thick pie crusts, I can't do that anymore. Finn the Dude, Bench Stormcast Eternals, painted as statues for diorama, Belly, oatcakes and cheese. Proper Scottish oatcakes. Good stuff. Yeah, I've seen a few people paint some Eternals as statues. It's a good idea. Just paint them up as, stone. Iru says, Smegmar 4 bits, grrr. I don't think he maybe likes... I don't like... I can't remember the word Smegmar then. I'm thinking it's Sigmar, isn't it? Yes, I couldn't think of the actual real word. Andy McLeish is slowly gluing the Mustang together. He's thinking over what varnish to get. Belly, turkey wrapped in bacon with herbed roast veggies and crinkle chips. Oh! In terms of varnish, depends what you want to do, Andy. If you're doing a nice shiny car, you want something you can sand and polish. So therefore, you're looking at lacquers, really. Haven't asked, I think there's a seagull in my... I can hear something in the garden outside, and I've got the window closed because it's cold. I keep hearing something in the wind out in the garden, and it's like, it sounds like a seagull going, ah, ah, but we don't get seagulls here, and it's just occasional. I don't know. There's something weird happening in my garden, but I can't check. Paul D. Tomaso is off to take a nap. See you and take care. Thanks for coming in, Paul. You're probably asleep by now, but thanks for coming in, matey. Take care. Sleep well, buddy. What was I talking about? Yes, it depends what you want. Have a ask in the boom hut, because there'll be people in there that do shiny cars. I can't help you at all because I don't. But I know if you want to get a proper decent shine on it, you want to be able to sand and polish it. I mean, you can get away with it not sanding and polishing it, but it'll look a lot more realistic and awesome and convincing if you do a proper sand and polish job on it. Which means getting, you don't have to get detailing polishes. You can use some of the Tamiya polishes and do it manually, but you'll need a proper gloss varnish that you can actually polish and sand, and that's going to be a lacquer, not an acrylic, I would think. Ask at the boom hut, though. Unless anybody in chat does shiny model cars and knows exactly which one to... that's what I can't figure out, says Philip Prime about his putty. I thought it would be the same as perfect plastic putty, water-based, but somehow it dried rubbery unless I'm doing something I shouldn't. I do not know. Why am I wearing a belt? Do I have pants on, says Chris at Gross Models. Yes, of course I have pants on. I've just realised I wouldn't have to be, because, the desk finishes off camera and you would never know. But at the same time, Mama Fox is walking around. I don't sit here pantsless. It's rude. It's just nonsense. Scott Sutherland's in. Hi, Scott. Welcome, Scott. Scott, our good friend from the Orkney. Puffin Master Scott, who, of course, is the person that sent me Guthorm. You're my co-host, the one who looks after all your comments. Is the spirit animal of all the mods, Guthorm. Guthorm, I've forgotten his... I can't remember his surname. Somethingson. I've got the card that you sent me when you sent him to me, but I can't remember where it is. Guthorm... Puffinson. That'll do. Puffinson. Bench nothing, waiting for part as I ordered the wrong stuff. Oh, says Darren. Belly, ham and egg, mayonnaise, baguette. Yes, this sounds correct. Maybe it hasn't fully set yet, says TK about the putty. Well, that's been 24 hours. I put some putty on something once. I had a cunning idea for it. Here's an idea. I was doing a model, and I needed a base I wanted to give some weight to. I remember it was a resin base and I had a metal rod to mount the thing on, a resin model, sorry. And I had this brilliant idea. I got a light, you get like a light switch on the wall and you get the plastic square like fitting and that the switch is in the middle of. But you can get blanking plates. You can just get blank square light switch plates. And they're about that thick. So I went to the DIY shop and I got myself a blanking plate, a blank, no hole in the middle, light switch cover. I turned it upside down and I filled it with milliput. And I left a thing in the middle where I could drill the hole out to mount. And I thought this will be a nice square plastic base. I can drill a hole in it because it's thick, solid plastic. I can fill it with milliput, and that'll give it some weight and make it nice and flat. And I can mount the model, and I can paint over it. And I thought this was the best idea in the world. It cost me £2. It's this big, and it's a nice little display base for a tiny resin model. And it was a work of genius, except that my milliput, after 2 weeks, was still squishy. Because, like I said earlier, it had just gone off. It expired. They have a shelf life. I'd had it for like 5 years. Yeah. So it hadn't mixed, and this was a 2-pot epoxy putty like milliput. So you mix two, they're inert by themselves, but you mix them together, and the chemical reaction then makes the putty set and go hard. That never happened. In the end, I'd throw it away. But it's a genius idea. So if you ever want to do that, I think I did try one first with some plaster of Paris, but it went wrong. So I tried it with milliput. So genius idea. If you need a small display base about that big, go to your local B&Q/DIY store when you're allowed to, and just get some blanking plates. You can drill holes in them. You can fill them with something, or just put lots of like metal weights underneath. Doesn't really matter. Perfect little display bases. You're welcome. Connor and Paige. That's it. Now I knew Connor. I couldn't remember Paige's names. Connor. Hello, Connor and Paige. If you're watching. Paul at Team Inept says people who are sniffy about Bandai kits can get stuffed. Absolutely. A lot of people will go, oh dear, it's kits for children, snap fit kits, push fit kits are for children, they shouldn't be allowed. And I tell them, like Paul, tell them to get stuff. I disregard anyone that does that, because that's just pointless snobbishness. And you know why? Because this is a hobby of having fun. It's not a hobby of, there's nothing wrong with being a perfectionist, trying to recreate a real thing in miniature. That's absolutely fine. That's, 50% of the hobby is doing that. But it's also about having fun and just having playtime. I'm 48 and I'm sitting here making little plastic soldiers. It's not really something I'm taking particularly seriously. So I don't care what the model is as long as somebody's having fun making it. Nim says it's at the right side near the corner of the nail. Like right on, like there. On that little, that's a nightmare. I've done that. I did that the other week actually. It's healed over now, but like right on the, let me get my pen on. If you mean kind of like right there, that kind of, that especially if it's a big gouge like that, that is a nightmare. I have nothing but my sympathy, because that's a nightmare. Because every time you touch anything, it goes like that and opens up and hurts. You get all the crap in the world in there. I had the cut there and I was doing the washing up, and every time I was scrubbing the plate with the washing up brush, it was like the little filaments would jab it. I was like, couldn't help it. And also, you can't get a plaster over that. It's a nightmare. You need to go and lie down and stay in bed for 2 weeks and let it heal over, and just keep your hand not touching anything. It's the worst in the world. Edward Lennon says, I have 3 mango trees behind my home. Cool. Now, I was a bit sad, and I've said this before because I'm old now. I like fruit. I've just learned to like bananas over the last 10 years. I've grown to like them when I hated them as a kid. I like apples, all kinds. I like fruit. Fruit's good for you. It's nice. But unfortunately, my teeth have got to the point now where if I eat things like fruit, the sugars in the fruit, in the juice that comes from the fruit, it turns to acid in your mouth. It becomes acidic over a little short period of time. And that actually eats into the structure of your teeth. And you've got these little tiny pores in your teeth that are normally covered over with a thin coat of whatever it is. They're covered in like dentine or something. But over time, this acid, even if you brush your teeth within, half an hour, a little bit of that can turn to acid quickly, and it can do that thing. And they're easily fixed. The little holes appear, and then they're sensitive, and that's why you get the sensitive teeth after fruit. But then brushing your teeth with toothpaste that's got like fluoride and stuff in it and all that kind of stuff fills them up again. That's why after a day or so your teeth aren't sensitive. That's how anti-sensitive toothpaste works. It fills those little tiny holes with the goodness that's supposed to be in there, the dentine and the calcium and stuff and all that goodness. And But it's got to the point now where if I eat an apple or in this case a mango, I know that for the next day I'll have that sensitive teeth when I brush my teeth. It'll be like, ah, not painful, just uncomfortable. So I just can't eat fruit now. So I had this mango, because I'd never actually eaten put the fruit in front of me mango. I'd had mango before, but I'd never had a mango. So I got it and I chopped it up and it tasted fantastic. It was the most delightful thing. It tasted 1,000,000 times better than any canned processed mango I've ever had. And it was like, wow, this is like a mouth orgasm. And then, of course, an hour later, I had the throbby teeth the next day. So I couldn't eat the other two. It was sadness. It was delicious. But I didn't really understand. I put the knife through the middle of it, and it was solid in the middle. I thought there must be a great big seed in the middle. And there wasn't. There was nothing. It was just solid. It looked exactly the same when you cut through it, apart from that bit in the middle that looked exactly the same as tough. It's very weird. I don't understand mangoes. Clearly, I have no knowledge of them. But it was very nice. And I wish I could eat more, but I can't, so I won't. That's why I'm sad about fruit and pies. Fruit and pies. I'm getting old now, and there's certain things I can't eat anymore, and it just makes me totally sad. Of all the things to not let me eat, fruit and pies. I mean, it could be worse. I could be unable to eat curry and kebabs. That would just be like, take my own lifetime. Yeah. Behind on the chat. Andy McLeese says a model kit is a model kit. End of. I can't stand snobbery and rivet counting. If you're not a member of the Boom Hut, by the way, and I'll put the link in the chat again. If you are not a member of the Boom Hut, then we actually violently suppress. It sounds really bad to say that, but we do. We actually aggressively suppress any snobbishness, rivet counting, bitching and snarking. We want our members to have fun, to understand that the hobby is just silly fun times. We're just having fun and messing about. We don't object to people making models that are super realistic and with a massive historical attention. We applaud that. Somebody says, here's this tank I made, this World War II, whatever, and I've taken all this time to make all these rivets excellent, and get these clasps correct, and we're like, wow, that's amazing, well done, good work. But it's when somebody then says, somebody puts something up and somebody else says, I think you'll find on the real thing, that's not accurate. And they do it in such a way that it's kind of snooty and snotty, and then I'll be like, I think you'll find you've been removed from the group. I have nothing against accuracy and faithfulness to the source material, but I do have something against being an absolute tool when somebody else doesn't. I will applaud someone who can make an exact work, beautiful replica of a real thing. I will applaud them for their skill and research and tenacity, but I will not ever applaud someone who says that's rubbish because it's not accurate. Because that's just nonsense. We've got more of these really crappy mouldings in the pauldrons here, where they've got like the mould line and then this little sort of blip around the ridge of the pauldron. I hate that. Not hard to remove, but it's a pain that I should have to, because it'll look rubbish when you put a shade on it. But never mind. Where are we? Finn the Dude. I've got a Sprue Kits Master Chief in the stash. Sprue Kits are part of Bandai. Looks amazing. We'll crack on with this. And I've got one of those little tiny one. Reborn in Rationality. Can't bring myself to buy Star Wars merch anymore after what Disney have done to it. I don't care. It's just fictional fun time. I don't take anything too seriously. So... where are we? So everything jumped. Anyone doing the Revel Platinum Edition Level 5 B1B Lancer, says more Draka. I'm looking to get one to do aside from the Warhammer 40k. TK, is that the one Mr. Loth's model making is doing? The one that's like 300 feet long? Ask in the Boom Hut, ask Mr. Loth's model making. Like, he's making a big B1, but I don't know if it's the same one. It might be. The one that's like about the size of a child. Tomcat, am I the only one that thinks it's dumb a turbine engine company doesn't include a starter motor for their turbine engine? That's random. Team Inept and McLeish, I'm picky in that there are some things that don't appeal, but I'm not a twat about it like those guys are. Yeah, we're talking about like proper rivet counters now that we kick out. Tasha Verts says no. Hey Tasha Verts, hello, welcome. Look. TK says, I did not hear that about the potatoes, but I could eat more. It could just be, you know, Holland, or it could be the Netherlands, or it could be Belgium. You know what us lot are like for like that part of the world. We don't know which one's which. It could be Sweden for all I know, and I've just got it wrong. As far as Brits always get confused by the Netherlands and Holland and people who are, and it's like you're just that part of the world. It's the only thing we can do to kind of not make ourselves look too stupid. Nat Williamson says yes, it's Hachette for the quilt, the quilt she's doing, the Peter Rabbit one. Andy McLee says I don't want to do sanding and polishing. It's a model kit. I'm not sure I want to make it look realistic. Okay. Then don't worry about that. Then go with your acrylic varnishes. Is it going to be dirty and weathered, or is it going to be like factory fresh? That's what we're thinking with your Mustang. There's nothing wrong with doing sanding and polishing to give a car, but again, that's just that accuracy level, isn't it? If you want to make an absolute perfect replication of a car in miniature, then you know it's worth putting in the effort. There's no harm in putting in the effort to get that kind of look to it, that reflective look. But there's nothing wrong with not doing it either. That's the big difference between me and rivet counters. I applaud those who do it, but I don't mock those who don't do it. Right, this little nubbin on the pauldron is a right pain in the bum. I used Das once after it dried. It popped off the plastic, says Andy McLeish. What, Das Clay? I use that on my Landspeeder diorama. The trick with using clay is you need to somehow make sure it's attached to the thing. A lot of people use Das Clay in dioramas. They'll have a wooden board, say, or a board of some sort, and then they'll put clay over the top. You need to sort of affix it to the base or whatever you're doing. So if I was doing a diorama, for example, when I did my Landspeeder, I had the clay all over the top, but I also made sure the clay wrapped around the sides and underneath a little bit. So it's not really pinned in place, but it's got a grip of the sides. You also need to make sure there's something between a wooden base and the clay, because the clay exudes moisture, which can warp the wood. But another way you can do it is if you've got, say, a wooden base or a solid base and you've got some clay you're building up in a diorama, you can do things like rods and pins that go through the base and the clay and just give it some extra things to grip onto. So for example, if you've got a base, say this big, and you've got a blob of clay that's your landscape, just get some either plastic, or it doesn't really matter what, plastic or wood or metal, or paper clips, and just jam them through so they go into the base and the clay. And it's just like rebar in concrete, but it's rebar in your clay, and it just adds as an extra grip between the clay and the plastic and helps it keep on. The same way that the legs of an oil platform out at sea just go deep into the ground, so then the oil platform can't move because it's got nowhere to go. There's a name for it when you do it in design, but I can't remember what it's called. But that was for I've talked about weighing down the base. I see what you mean. Yes, I see what you mean. Nat says, for your information, Lewis, I have added a Gunpla to the buy list. Cool. What did you get? Tell. I use cheap wall filler for weight on bases. It works well, and you can build it up in layers, says Phil. Yeah. Guthorm Sigurdsson, the second Jarl of Orkney. There you go. That's it. I knew it was something like Sigurdsson. There you go. Guthorm, not forgotten. Guthorm Sigurdsson, second Jarl. Linda Paul, Lewis Williamson, I'm good. I just got back from the store and vacuumed the floor. What? I did housework? No! How you doing, Lynn? You just got one day off. Oh, and you're spending time with us. Thank you very much. Hi, Lynn. But Fox is on telly, she says. Emulsion will fill the hole, says Miles Finch, with a winky smiley. I was about to do some stuff, but the stream is always a better option, says Phil. Philip Prime says, I've been known to make the odd Formula 1 kit in my time. I tend to use Tamiya paints, so X22 thin 50/50 and several light coats will give a nice shine. Aye. The only thing we're using gloss paints without putting a gloss coat on the top. If you're not taking it too seriously, it's fine. But if you're wanting to get a proper shine, yeah, you can use gloss. Gloss paints are a pain though to paint with and spray. But if you get the hang of them, they work really well. Vincent says, hi everyone, yes, your summons came right in the middle of me getting the pipette in my paint pot to load the airbrush. Very close, but no paint was wasted. Ah, there you go, Vincent summoning. Oh yes, Vincent says, yes, it's me doing the big Lancer. What was the question? Somebody asked about the big B1 Revell kit Lancer. Whoever it was asking, Vincent's in chat, ask him all the questions about that massive B1 Lancer. Animation is going to be clean, but it's not going to be pristine. It's going to look like it has been used. Okay, if it's going to be used, then you could get away with any old acrylic varnish. You could even get away with pledge if you want it to look like the Mustang from Bullet, for example, which would have which was was not particularly shiny because it was used and it was dusty. If you want it to look like it's not been washed in a while, then yes. You could use any old acrylic gloss. You're absolutely fine. You don't need to polish or anything. You can use your Alclad Aqua Gloss, Aqua Clear, whatever it's called. You could even use your Pledge if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter then because you can spray that on and it won't be the most glossy thing ever, but it'll look shiny enough, and then you can start matting it down with your weathering. Like I did on the Transit van. The Transit van I did was battered and beaten, so it didn't have any shine on it at all. It had road grime, streaking and rust. So it didn't really matter then. I didn't do a gloss on that. Let's have a look. Moore is asking Vincent about the B1 Lancer. You need to anchor your clay. Small screws work well, says Miles Finch. Yes, that's what I was saying. Exactly. Let's say you've got a base. Let's say you wanted to fill that gap with clay, or you wanted to put you wanted to put a little bit of terrain over that and fill that gap. You'd literally put your clay over the top, but you then drill some screws through the bottom into the clay. It's like a plas plug in a wall. You want to screw something into your wall, you have to put that little plastic grippy plug into the wall first so the screw can anchor into it, because the brick will just crumble. Same thing. If you just stick clay on top of that, it'll fall off, if that was, say, wood or whatever, especially metal. If you stick clay and then reinforce it, like with screws or nails, even paper clips, doesn't really matter, that will then keep it in place. It's a tag that holds both things together, because clay on its own will not adhere to anything. It'll just fall off. Andy says, we need to know what Gunpla. Lewis says she's not got one yet. I won't go through all the talk about the B1 Lancer. If you are watching this, of course, there's no chat. I've just noticed the chat's gone off, but don't worry, it'll come back. My streaming software sometimes falls over. I'll just see my buttons are still working. Yeah, buttons are still working. I'll give you a bit of that.
Slap it on.
Chat will come back. It does eventually. But if you're watching this and you want to know the chat about the B1 Lancer, watch this on YouTube, because all the chat will be there and archived. Roll Plug says, that's the one, Roll Plug. I call them plas plugs, I don't know why. Not yet, Fox. I've got about 5 different bits on the go at the moment, so I need to finish a few things first. Otherwise, I can't nag at Lewis for his stash if mine is just as big. So you haven't bought a Gunpla yet. If you haven't bought one yet, and if you want to get one for yourself or for Lewis, my 2 recommendations would be Master Grade Zaku 2 or the Master Grade the Master Grade Jester. If somebody could type that in chat for me, in fact, I'll do it. I'll type words now. That'd be the Master Grade, just for the ease of build and the fun. Master Grade Zaku 2 or Master Grade Jester. They're two of the nicest Master Grades you're going to get. They aren't massively complicated with a billion bits. They're not stupidly expensive, but they're good introductory kits. Or the Zaku is always a good choice, because the Zaku is brilliant. Thank you, Andy. Caught the stream, says Beck. Welcome, Beck. Shakes Lewis thoroughly. I don't know why. I'm good, Fox, says Lynn. And yeah, I would always drop what I'm doing and watch this live show. Same with Chris, Colin, anyone else. Aw, we love you to bits. Vincent does say about that big B1, if you get the kit at a decent price, it's worth it. Don't expect perfect fit. It's still a 1980s monogram kit. That said, all the bits are straight. Do 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 do. HG Gundam's usually about £10 to £15 if you want a cheap one to start with. Yep. It's for me, Fox, and thank you. There you go. I mean, there's millions of them. I would say if you're never sure, go for something you think looks cool. If you're not sure about any of them, just say, I like the look of that one, and then get that one. And then take it from there. Oh. Coffee is spent, rounds complete. Mehr Munition here! Now we go on to the waters of life. Waters. The lovely waters of life that will keep me going for a bit. Zaku 2, in my opinion, is the best entry-level kit regardless of level, says Tomcat. Yeah, master grade. Anyway, let's crack on. Dude. I think I'm up to date with chat now. If I've missed your comments, if you want to get my attention, chat, by the way, don't forget, of course, I've got the chat here, as you can see. If you want to get my attention while I'm working with a question, put your question in big fat capital letters, or bold as Ted would call it. Put your question in big fat capital letters. If you want to, you can do a super chat. It's a way of supporting this channel as well, because I make that little bit of income from it. But you don't have to, but that will put your comment in a coloured box, and it'll do a little animation at the top up here somewhere. And therefore I can't miss your comment. But you don't have to, it's completely optional. But other than that, put your comments in capital, so at least have a chance to see them. I'm just going to quickly check something. Checking my microphone levels. So yeah. Right. Call 999 for Fox. Water times. I like water. I do drink a lot of coffee, but I also drink a lot of water. Because it's just there. And it's refreshing. Especially in the summer times when I'm drinking gallons of it. Right, I think I've pretty much done the body part here. I think. I finally found a media player that lets you play subtitles outside the video in black bars, says Beckstorm. I've never thought of that as a thing, to be honest. I'll tell you what bugs me. This is what I'm having a right thing with the BBC iPlayer at the minute, the iPlayer app on desktop. Because, and this will sound really stupid, but it bugs me senseless. There should be, in my opinion, there should be a universal law in the same way that, you know, synthesizer manufacturers all use the same form of MIDI. MIDI was a universal agreement of keyboards talking to each other. And in the same way that, you know, electric equipment manufacturers use the same plugs. You know, you don't get a dishwasher with a different power plug than the microwave because of competitors. They all use the same plugs in the same countries. I think there should be a universal standard that when you're watching a video, spacebar pauses the video, and volume up and down arrows change the volume. And there should be no deviation from that, ever. If I'm watching something, you know, when somebody comes into the room and starts talking to me, or if I need to go for a wee, or the phone rings, or the doorbell goes, I want to be able to go spacebar and pause it and walk away and come back. Press spacebar again. BBC iPlayer, it drives me nuts because spacebar does pause the video unless you've adjusted the volume, because it goes off. The spacebar adjusts whatever the last thing was you adjusted. So if you press play, then the next thing that happens when you hit the spacebar is it'll pause it. If you've turned the volume up or down, and when you hit the spacebar, it just mutes it. And I'm like, the number of times I've pressed spacebar, walked away, come back, and it's the show's moved on 10 minutes, and I'm like, oh, it's just muted. Oh, it drives me nuts. Oh, it drives me nuts. I hate that. So BBC, if you're watching this, if the entire BBC just happened to be watching the stream right now, please sort that out. It's so annoying. It really is the most annoying thing in the world. I don't want to have to press a button and then check what that button has done. That's not how buttons work. That's not how user interfaces should work. A button should do the same thing every time and should work seamlessly. That's how UI works. If you need to, talk to Microsoft and Apple. They know how to do UI. They know how to do user interfaces and stuff. Just sort it out. It drives me nuts. Middle class upper nonsense. God damn it. The little niggles in life that are wrinkles that need to be addressed because it's not quite right. So annoying. It's not just the iPlayer that does it. There are other ones out there, but most video playing places acknowledge that that's the way. The other one, Channel 4. If you go to the Channel 4 on demand, I don't watch stuff on Channel 4 because 99% of Channel 4 TV content is garbage, but I do watch Channel 4 news on catch up sometimes. And they have their maximise screen button and volume controls are in the top right. No, in the bottom right, there's some maximize. Full screen should be on the bottom right hand corner, like everybody else. Oh, it's like YouTube have got it right, and everybody understands YouTube. People should just copy the YouTube layout. That's how it should work. You know, buttons on the right, buttons on the left, and that's it. None of this. The number of times I've like gone to maximise the screen on the Channel 4 player and actually clicked on Time Team or something and started watching a Time Team program. It's like, oh man, stop putting your it drives me nuts. Amazon Prime Video controls are perfect, says Chris. Their volume's up at the top right, which is annoying, but they do have the pause and they do have the spacebar bound to press to pause and play, so I'll give them that. Right, that's his little boncy bonce, all de-seamed and demarked, I think. Jolly good. I think he's ready for the gluitations. Now this is the penultimate Chapulon, who does not carry a flag, but does have a split arm. God damn it. Yeah, we'll get everything else built up first, then we'll worry about the arm. Glad you drink H2O, Fox. I drink almost, if not a gallon a day, says Lynn. I have a pint mug, and I can get, on a summer's day, I can get 3, 4 or 5 of those quite easily. Need to go for now. Bye and take care, says TK. Thanks for coming, TK. Love to the family. What we're doing. H2 Go, the only water worth drowning in. H2 Go, don't get that. Agree fully, Fox, says Phil East. I don't know what with, but obviously you're a man of wit and sagacity if you agree with me. Vexstorm, 4:3 aspect ratio, so on a 16:9 video I can have the subs in black area instead of over the picture itself. Okay, that makes sense. BBC had donuts. Then Lynn says, I want donuts. I watch Hunted on Channel 4, it's pretty good. Never watched it. Netflix, not so much. No, I don't do Netflix. Is it Fox on an old man rant again? Of course. I have to do at least one a week. Alexa Prime, more like gross models, lol. Okay, talking about the B1 floaty plane. Cool. If you haven't seen that one that Vincent's making, that big B1, you should check it out. Put more pictures in the Boomhut stuff, Vincent. Is there stuff on your channel, Vince? Have you done anything on there? Because it is massive. It's the size of a house. It's just ridiculous. Right, let's get this guy assemblated. I'll put that brush up there. I don't need it right now. Assembling a dude. I can make donuts, says bassist. Yes, you can. I'm not going to doubt this. Right, so we have this. And assemble the breastplate. Breastplate. I said breast. And it's allowed. Put that there for. So let's get this done. Using my Tamiya extra thin here because this isn't a structural load bearing thing. I can hold it in place for a few seconds and it will grip and stick. I can't actually see where the join is there. Now, apologies, my hand is in the way. That's the way these things go with the camera over on the side. Should be quite grippy enough, I think. Lovely. Lovely. Full and loose. Lewis says she can have whichever one she wants and use any of my equipment to make it. And Lynn says, good boy, Lewis. I think talking about the Gunplas. Where the chat's up to. Leave that for a second to stick. Now we have the leg, which is F21. F21. So for this one, because it's a leg, we're going to swap to the regular Tamiya fat glue. I've explained this before. It's because it's load bearing. If I glue this on with regular Tamiya extra thin, I'll glue it on and it'll go, and then it doesn't fall off. God damn it! I'll glue it on and it will fall off like that because it can't hold its own weight. So I just need to use the fat glue, the regular Tamiya glue, just for a second. Just because this is viscous and thick and sticky, it's not stronger than the other glue in its adhesion and its welding capability. It's just thicker and therefore glooping. It's got a bit of viscous stick to it. It can glom the leg onto the body and it'll stay on like that. And then what I can do is, when that's had a few seconds, I can then run the extra thin into it. Beck Storm, I'm going to have a hard time getting Gunpla from Japan now that mostly all international shipping got shut down. Yeah. The thing is, here in the UK, it sucks for Gunpla anyway. Because there's a very few... We've only got a few places that actually sell Gunpla to start with. And absolutely none of them are distributors. So they have to buy them from other people that sell Gunpla. So whenever you see a store in the UK that sells Gunpla, chances are they bought it from a different Gunpla selling store. There's a few I can think of. I'm not going to say any names, but there's a few I can think of that supply UK Gunpla or UK model stores with Gunpla. So they're not getting the 30% discount that distributors get from Bandai. If you're a Bandai distributor and you buy stuff from Bandai, you can get a trade discount of it's usually about up to 30%. So your Bob Smith's Gunpla shop in the US or in Europe somewhere, and you buy a Gunpla kit that costs £100. I'm going to mix up my metaphors here. It costs £100. Let's say euros. It costs €100. But you're a distributor. You've got an agreement with Bandai, so you get it for €70. Then you get the kit. You can then sell it for whatever you want at any price. You can sell it for 90. You can sell it for €90, which is 10 euros cheaper than everybody else, but you're still making €20 profit because of that discount you've got. And you've all got shipping and stuff as well, and taxes and things like that. It's not quite as cut and dried as that. But the idea is that if you get a nice trade discount, you can sell it. You can undercut other people, but still make a profit. But when you are a shop that doesn't have any kind of discount or trade agreement with Bandai, you're then dependent on the shop you buy it from to give you a nice discount. But you're not going to get 30%. There's no way Bob's model shop is going to buy Gunpla at a 30% trade discount and then sell it to you at a 30% trade discount. No, they're going to sell it to you at a 10% trade discount so they can still make some profit. So you're going to get a much smaller discount, if anything. You might buy in bulk, in which case you might get a nice discount, or you might get none at all, which means then you're buying a kit to sell at full trade price, at full retail price almost. You can't give your customer a nice 10 or 15 or 20% discount because of you bought it almost at retail value. You're almost you're pretty close to RRP, and that gives you less chance to discount it. So if you're buying in the UK, it's always gonna be more expensive than just going on Amazon and buying it from AN or other Amazon trader who is usually in Japan and will charge you quite a lot less. So it does suck that we don't have a distributor. Now we do have Revell who are doing some of the Star Wars stuff, but there's no word on Gunpla. So right now we are at the mercy of Asian territory sellers. But then again, I've bought loads and loads of Gunpla, and you get them on Amazon, and they come from Japan, and they come with a nice little bit of origami in there and a really nice little handwritten note, and they cost about the same as what you'd buy them anywhere else. So it's not like a big thing. You might get an import charge, you might not. Basically, we always end up getting screwed regardless of how it goes. Lewis Williamson, he's after something. He's after something again. I think he's either trying to recover from some kind of goof, or he spent money she doesn't know about yet. Because he's saying, yeah, the Gunpla, she will try and make it as beautiful as her, but nothing can come close to Nat's beauty. He's doing this yesterday. He's after something. He's smoothing the grass down, ready for the picnic. Miles Finch says pork pie or Scotch egg. I don't know why. I would say Scotch egg because I don't really like pork pies. I can't eat the pastry, and I don't really like the pork in the middle. It's a bit bland. I much prefer Scotch egg. Team Inept says Scotch egg because you get an exciting bonus egg. It's like a Kinder Surprise, but with meat. Not meat, you know what I mean. Tomcat, sadly why I'm not doing a whole lot of modelling right now, because I don't have all the stuff to paint the tanks I want to do for a 1/35th diorama. Yeah, right now getting hold of supplies is quite tricky, but I would say if you've got any kind of stash going on, if you're at a build where you can't go any further, just put it to one side and do something else. Do what I'm doing, which is, you know, I've thought about this before. I've done it before myself when I've been. I might have a kit that I've got I need to paint. Just going to unplug my iPad. I might be in the part of a build where I want to go outside, especially before I had an airbrush. I might be on a build and I'll be like, right, I built it now. I need to get it primed and get the base coat down. And in those days, it was rattle can. And I'm like, well, but it's raining and it's November and it's going to rain for months. What can I do? So what I did was I put that kit to one side and I just started building all the other stuff. Because there's nothing wrong with having like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 kits built up and ready for priming. I'm looking at my shelf in my cupboard over there. You can't see it. And there's a whole shelf in that cupboard, in that cabinet, of Games Workshop kits that were all built and ready for priming or built and ready for paint. They've just been primed. And it's just because I wanted something to do. At the point I was in the middle of doing something else and I couldn't commit to a paint job. But I thought, sometimes the building is a bit therapeutic. Just building stuff is enough. So I was just building stuff up. So it's sometimes worth just putting that to one side and just getting a load of other stuff built, just so you're doing something until you can get it painted. Basis says Lewis has got a Bane blade. I bet you, yes. I joked yesterday that Lewis needs a Bane blade, and since then he's been all schmoozy and like, you know, schmoozy and polite and kind to Nat, and it's like, yeah. I was joking, saying I bet he's bought something expensive, and somebody said he probably bought a Bane blade because you told him to. I'm like, oh yeah, there might be that. Philly says there doesn't seem to be an interest in Bandai in the UK. Basically saying, you know, Ian Thompson said, how difficult is it to become a distributor? And Philly says it's very difficult for Bandai because there doesn't seem to be an interest. This is the catch-22. Here's the UK. Here's Japan and Bandai. For you to be a distributor, you need to be able to spend a lot of money with Bandai, and Bandai need to see a demand for that product. If they see a demand and you're offering them a whole mess of money and saying, I'll buy 1 billion kits, then they'll say, you're right, you've got the distribution rights for, say, the UK. The problem is Bandai don't see a demand in the UK for Gunpla and their product, or, you know, and Star Wars kits and stuff. Why? Because they don't sell a lot of stuff to the direct to the UK. It's a catch-22. They see a demand. There's distributors in Europe for Gunpla because they see a demand, because they have distributors in Europe who say, yes, we're selling them, can you send us some more? Because they haven't got a distributor in Europe, in the UK, people in the UK have to buy the Gunpla from Europe or from Japan. So Bandai don't see, when you buy your kit from the little mom and pop store in Japan, or some little Italian, you know, or you might buy it from an Italian. There's a distributor in Italy for Bandai. You might buy it from a distributor in Italy or a shop in Italy. You might buy it from some little mom and pop store in Japan. Bandai don't see that. They just see the sales direct to their retailers that they sell direct to, and to their distributors. They don't have any of that in the UK, so they don't see when you buy 1 billion kits from some distributor in Europe or some little shop in Japan or Korea or somewhere. They don't see that, so they don't see a demand. But they don't see a demand because they don't supply the demand. It's a catch-22. I don't know how they're going to get around that. There probably is a demand, but because Bandai don't directly sell to anyone in the UK, they don't see it. So basically, we get screwed. EC Idaho says, I agree. I have a large backlog of builds waiting for paint for the same reason. It's also a good feeling as well, if you've got a big stash, to just get stuff built and then put it to one side waiting for paint, because you can have a big box in your stash, or you can have a model on a shelf waiting for paint. It's a lot more efficient on space. That's why I'm getting all these built up as well, because I need to get all these painted, but I can't afford to have 80 magazines worth of sprues sitting around. I've got no space for that. So what I'm doing is getting everything built. I can put all the models into a couple of Crusader cases out the way and work my way through them slowly, you see. Vincent says, yes, my locals buy from a Hong Kong distributor. That's how they got the hands on Bandai Star Wars kits before the Revell distribution deal for Europe was in effect. Yep, and exactly. But Bandai won't see that. Bandai will sell 1,000 kits to that Hong Kong distributor, and that's the end of their visibility. So they'll see a demand in Hong Kong. They won't then see those Hong Kong kits going to the Netherlands. So they won't see a demand at TK's end, at Vincent's end. they won't see that bit, and therefore there's no demand. It's a real catch-22. And the other problem, of course, is that with Bandai as well, they have a very old school way of doing it, the way that a lot of Western companies don't quite get. For example, and I was watching an interview with Hobbylink Japan once. They said, yeah, it's like Bandai. You need to send them faxes. You can't email them. You don't email them. You don't phone them. You send them a fax. They're a real old school way of doing it. So apparently it's quite hard. It's quite hard to get in with Bandai because they have a real old school way of doing it. Paul KK23, welcome. Paul says, how many people do you think will be waiting on the Games Workshop website on Friday at midnight? Have we got confirmation then that it's Friday at midnight when GW's web store reopens? Graham McRobertson, welcome Graham. He says, I have ordered the card version of the 196 scale umbilical launch tower to go with my Revell 196 Saturn V. It will be built on day. Got too many bills before this one. That sounds awesome. I had a launch tower for the big 172nd scale shuttle, I think it was, when I was a kid, and that was massive. Beckstorm says, we're trying to take a picture of the progress I've made in the boom hut, but I dropped the phone and knocked the model over, ruining the pose. Dope. Yes. I know the feeling about waiting for weather to spray, says Nim. I'm waiting for my days off so I can finally go outside and pledge everything. Yes. Oh, because you can't spray indoors, yeah. So it's not that there is no interest for Bandai stuff in the UK, it's that Bandai don't see it. Which it's a miracle that Revell got the distribution only for Star Wars, and hopefully that will maybe start to suggest to Bandai that the European market and the UK market is actually something they should invest in, because it's there. But in the US, you've got Bluefin that do the distribution because they see a market for it there. Hey. Where are we? Reborn says, don't tell me Reborn says, don't tell me I do robot mech kits anymore. They used to do a few decades ago, but I built a couple way back. I didn't know they did. I know Hasegawa do some. Lewis and Nat are getting all schmoozy. Very schmoozy. Well, Nat, my sweetie, but you'll have to wait for your Gunpla, and to solve the problem of purchasing, I'll take you to Japan for it. There we go. How many Marines do you need to paint for? Because I started 40 together and it's getting a bit boring now, says Phil East. Well, I don't know, because the thing is I'm going to be filming it as well, which takes even more, but there will be like 40 Space Marines or something, and there'll be 40 Plague Marines, and there'll be like 1 billion. I know there'll be 40 Poxwalkers and things like that, so yeah, it's going to be a lot of bulk painting. But normally when you're doing that, you can cut a few corners, but because I'm painting these for George, I'm not going to be doing that. I'll probably do like 10 at a time. I've found painting minis in batches of 10. Like paint 10 Space Marines on a production line and then put that to one side and go and do something else. Like then paint 10 Poxwalkers and then come back and paint the Repulsor and then come back and paint 10 Death Guard. It does mean you don't get you're not completely consistent, but if you paint like 10 of these and then another 10 of these and then another 10 of these, it gets a bit tedious. Tomcat says, yes, but I heard Games Workshop is not taking any new orders last their website said Facebook post. So they're okay, so they're opening to get stuff sent out, because I think they've had some orders waiting. Vincent says, there was something in the works for Bluefin to start distributing Bandai in Western Europe as big distributor, but I read that before the human malware times. Yes, that was in the before times. Nobody remembers the before times. I feel like Gunpla is getting a resurgence of popularity in the UK. One day we'll probably have a distributor one day. That's the other thing. Keep in mind, of course, that Bandai also, as well as seeing where they sell the models, they also own the Gunpla franchise. So they will know in which territories their cartoons, all the different Gunpla series, that them and Sunrise are distributing them. If they see if they're selling if they're distributing a lot of the anime to the US territories, for example, they'll know they're in there with the anime, therefore they'll assume there's a demand for the model kits. If they don't see quite as much coming to, say, the UK, I don't know of many channels that actually show Gunpla or Gundam on any of the channels. I know you'll watch some of the anime through American channels that show on cable TV over here. I can't think of any UK specific channels that would air Gundam cartoons, so I can see how Bandai would say, well, we've sold all the distribution rights for the anime to Crunchyroll and to this, that, and the other in the US, but they then don't see them then showing those on the UK version of their channel, I suppose. So maybe they don't see demand for the anime, so they don't see demand for the models. Maybe that's that. I don't know. Or I can just order from them. So I would say personally, if you're in the UK, the easiest way to get Gunpla and probably the cheapest way to get Gunpla is order it on Amazon. Because you can see, you look at the kit you want, it says there are 5 other people selling this, go through that list, see who's got the best price and order it. If you order from outside the UK, if you order from Japan, a lot of them do come from Japan, you'll probably pay a lot less for the kit, but you may have import duty to pay when it comes through customs, and that can sometimes be quite a bit. However, sometimes they don't charge anything because sometimes the seller marks it as a gift or puts the price down really low, which is nice. You don't have to pay import taxes, but then if it goes missing, you can't claim anything. So it's a rock and a hard place. But oftentimes, the cheapest way to do it is literally just to order on Amazon. Now, eModels did actually stock Gunpla for a little while, and they actually had some really good prices. So I would normally say go there and get it from them. They don't have any in stock now, and I think they were struggling to get from their distributor anyway, from where they were getting it from. So yeah, they did have some stuff on that, and it was quite competitive. But again, it's just difficult to get now. Right, I'm going to try what I didn't do last night. I'll start that again. I'm going to try what I didn't do last night, which is glue the arms together first, as somebody suggested, and then try and stick it on the body. I'm not 100% confident about this, but we'll see. We will see. Let's try this then. We'll glue the arms together first, because it does have a square peg for arm that go into the weapon. Oh, I've not drilled the barrel. I'll do that in a minute then. I'll sort the barrel out in a minute. So we'll have to hold that in place, because I've used extra thin, but it's not quite so heavy that it's going to fall off, so I can use the extra thin and get away with it. And I don't want to let it set for too long, because I don't want it to be in the wrong pose and suddenly realise I'm screwed. So I'll give it a second. Vincent says they are defo warming up to it, as they actually sponsored a big stand in the fall of last year at the big comic convention we have over here, together with the Belgian anime shop, Gunpla and Figures. I think they know there's a demand, given the fact they did some cooperative work with Games Workshop. They know there's a demand. They just don't. From their point of view, they've got to say, well, hang on. They've got to know that it's worth their time catering to that demand. And as any of you out there who run your own business knows, that arm is falling off. You can't just take one person's word that there's a demand for their product. You have to know and see the data to back it up. And depending on what data they're looking at, there may be not the data there to say that. Okay, that arm is glued onto the gun and also does not fit at all. We're going to have exactly the same situation we had with the other arm. I'm wondering if it was actually the wrong arm and the instructions are wrong. I tried gluing the arms together, guys. Didn't work. It failed miserably unless. I don't understand why that didn't fit. Just doesn't seem to want to go on. I'm wondering if they've mislabeled the arm, because that does not seem right to me at all. I'm going to try it the old way. Glue the arm on first. Because I don't like the way this is going together. It does not seem correct. Correct. I've never had this trouble before. But then again, these mouldings are a little bit shonky around the edges, so I don't know. I think maybe it's because it's not GW plastic, not a GW moulding. I think maybe there's some tolerance issues here. I don't know. I could be wrong. Conclusive proof you've got the wrong arms, but I've got the right arms according to the instructions. So if they're the wrong arms, I've just dropped the arm. That's helpful. Hang on, let me go and find it. Right, that's in the carpet. Let's see if the carpet monster claims a victim. Nope. There we go. Tell you what, if you want a good way to avoid the carpet monster, get yourself Not only does it make it more comfortable, get yourself a microfiber noodle rug. It looks like a rug made of noodles, but anything falls on that, it just stops. It doesn't bounce. It goes. You find it easily. Right, so let's just see. Now, I don't know what's going on with his arms at all, but okay, that does sort of fit. Sort of. Get the tweezers of hell back out again. Where are they? Tweezers of arm hell. I might be able to wangle this a little bit. It's just because this one arm doesn't have an actual attachment peg. It just has a kind of annoying slot, which is not ideal. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together, you and I. You've been by my side as we manage this crisis. There's a hair on the... Get off. Right. See if we can figure this out now together. Nope. 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 Maybe. Nope. Oh. Let's get a little bit of glue in there. A little tiny bit of glue. Notice I talk less when I'm doing the proper thinking, because I need to get my tongue stuck out. And there. Doesn't help. I'm trying to do this during a live stream, which is also makes it a bit more challenging. You may mock, but I challenge you to do this on a live stream. Right, there we go. That's in. That's not in there, though. Again, it's not an ideal fit. It just about works, but not perfectly. But it's good enough. Yes, I think there's quality issues here. I think it's quality issues. I've never had problems with Space Marine arms before, ever. On official GW kits. I've never had a problem at all. And I agree with all of you that said that. They're a doddle to build. They're a piece of absolute bladder products. They go together beautifully. Even like, you know, even the what do you call it? Scions. They're fiddly and they're annoying, but they go together when you get them right. They go together perfectly. It's just trying to balance everything. The Scions may be frustrating to build, but they're not bad to build. They're not. It's not a quality issue. But this, yeah, something not right there. Something not quite right. AJ Dodgers, welcome. AJ says, for Gunpla in the UK, go to Gundam Mad or Tokyo Toys. Tokyo Toys Glasgow runs the Glasgow Gundam Community Build Club, and we empty the stock very quickly. Let's have a look. Nat Williamson says, the Zaku 2 is coming off between 50 and 55 quid off Amazon, including delivery, so not as bad as I thought. No, master grades typically are, unless it's one of the big massive ones with lots of extra bits. High grades tend to be between 15 and 20 quid. Master grades tend to be between 40 and 50 quid, but they can go up as high as 100 quid for some of the more expensive, more excessive ones, like the full armor master grade unicorn. Or, you know, the Psycho Zaku with a billion things and extra bits on it. But they tend to average about between 40 and 50 quid, master grades. Yeah. But you wouldn't really want to go towards the more expensive end anyway, because that is the real more complex kit. Now, when we say complicated for a master grade, it's not like building a TACOM tank with millions of bits of photo etch. There's not really anything such thing as complex Gunpla. They're not. A high grade and a master grade are probably the same level of difficulty to build, to be perfectly honest. The only difference is the complexity of the number of parts and the complexity. Not more difficult, it's just there's more to do. So, you know, a high grade kit may have 4 pieces for leg armor and 5 pieces for the internal frame bits of that leg armor, whatever little there may be. Whereas a master grade might have 20 pieces of leg armor and 50 pieces for the internal frame for the leg that the armor goes on. So but it's not more complicated. It's still just a push fit kit. Attach this to that, slot that through there. It's not complicated. And the one thing that sold me on Bandai stuff, like I said before, I'm not a maker. I hate the building part of a model. I'm not into building models at all. My big thing is painting and weathering models. Building a model is kind of a necessary evil. Although with things like Warhammer, it's kind of fun. I enjoy it because it's not hard. But like, you know, building a model is not the interesting bit for me. It just bores me. But Gunpla and Bandai kits, they take all the thinking out of it. So it's not, you don't have to do the prep and the different material. You just put it all together. Then you can focus on the painting. So I love the Gunpla and stuff because it's just, the focus is on painting and weathering, not the building. However, with Gunpla, the downside of that is you then have to change the way you work because of some of the things you can't do with them. So yeah, I've got burnt out on Gunpla. I've got Gunpla in my stash, but I'm burnt out on them because I can't just build them and paint them. Not as easily. And that's why when I did, oh look, empty sprue complete. Don't know where that went. I'll stand on it later and be in pain. But that's why when I did George's Sazabi, if you watch any of the videos, it was Patreon exclusive, I know, but I basically glued the frame into a pose. Not all of it, but I glued the elbows and the knees and the ankles into a fixed pose so that I could just concentrate on painting and not assembling. Because the thing is, if you get master grade and you do all the beautiful paint job and then you repose the arm, all the paint around that joint is going to come off. No matter how good a modeler you are, it's going to come off. You've just ruined it. When I did my perfect grade Zaku, I did a little joint on the back of the knee. Yeah, that paint wasn't staying on no matter what I did. So, you know, it's one of them things. Now, I've got a flag on. I don't like doing flags. But I'm going to have to on this guy, aren't I? Whoa. And the problem here is it's... Oh, no, actually, it's not an ultramarine flag. It doesn't say ultramarines on the flag. George, we're safe. I can paint this flag and I can put whatever I want in there because it's not got an ultramarine symbol, so thank Christ for that. Because if this had an ultramarine symbol it made into the flag as a relief, you wouldn't have been getting a flag. I've tried like flattening down the flag before, it doesn't work. So yeah, the actual design on the flag is three-dimensional. You paint, it's just like surface texture. That won't be hard to do at all. It'll be tricky, but it won't be hard. It'll be fun. Good. I'm glad about that. I was having nightmares of it having... hang on, let me move these springs. Having nightmares of it having ultramarine symbols all over built into it, and that would just been like, us. Where are we? Chat doing. Do. Gundam info on YouTube, says Annie McLeish. Gundam info! Wow, Lewis is really schmoozing, and Lewis is really doing... Basically, Lewis is deploying the EU butter mountain to button that up, and we don't know why, and it's intriguing. I think he spent money. I reckon he spent money on something that's not known about yet. Tomcat says, Master Grade has a lot more smaller parts and detail parts compared to high grade HG, and the higher, more expensive MG kits, more parts and occasionally more detail. Yes. And Master Grade tend to occasionally have watercolour. Master Grade occasionally have water slides and stickers and dry rubs, whereas high grade tend to just have stickers. Ian says, I must be the anti-fox. I love the building. I'm working on my painting skills. The thing with me is, I always say I hate the building, I love the painting. But there are times when, if I can't get my... Like right now, you know, I've said before, my mojo's... For the last few weeks, my mojo has been absolutely devastated. I've done very little. I've not got much done on the Falcon. I happily admit it. I've done a bit, but my mojo is not there. I'm finding myself really struggling to get to the bench and do any work. But there are times when my mojo can be at a rock bottom, and all I really want to do is just assemble something. I really get the itch to... So, like, for example, there was one time when I was working on George's Sazabi and my mojo fell through the floor and I couldn't bring myself to carry on with the painting. I just had to step away from it for a few days because I was in the inking phase and it was burning me out. And I've always said, if you're doing something and you're getting burnt out and you're thinking, I don't want to do that, don't carry on. Stop. Just walk away from it. If you do something when you're not in the mood to do it, you'll do it badly. And then if it's in the middle of a paint job or a middle of a build, it'll just escalate from there. So if you're in the middle of doing something and you're thinking, I'm not in the mood for this, just stop. Don't force it. Put it to one side, do something else. Go and play a video game, go and watch a movie, go and make something else. So I was doing George's Cesabi and I was doing the inking, and it took me a good few weeks to do that inking very slowly. 8 hours a day is 3 or 4 hours of that is hard enough. Oh, there were a few times where I'd like, right, I'm going to stop because it's a very delicate, fine bit of painting. I can't mess this up. And I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't want to do this. So I just put it to one side a few times, put it to one side just for a few days. I go off and play Elite Dangerous, or I'd play Skyrim, or I'd, binge watch something on Amazon or whatever. I'd go and do something else. But there was one day when I'm like, you know what? I really just want to sit here and make Imperial Guard. Not paint them, just make. I just wanted to sit there and build Imperial Guard grunt troops. And I had loads and loads to build. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I was watching something. I'm like, oh, I just need to. Right now, I need to build. I have this urge to build Imperial Guard, and I just got all of them out. I got all the sprues out. Right, I'm going to make that. And I spent like 2 days just making Imperial Guard dudes. Because they're not hard to make. They're very simple to assemble, which is kind of fun. I don't mind that kind of building. They're simple to assemble and they look fantastic. They're a pain in the bum to clean up with the seam lines, but I'd kind of, I bore that burden. But I just had this, I need to build Imperial Guard grunts. I need to do it. I need to do it now. I need to make them all. And that's what I did for 2 or 3 days. Until I got bored, and then I went back to George's Cesabi and I carried, because I'd refresh myself. It was a palate cleanser. So there are times when just building something, even though I hate the building process, some of this Games Workshop stuff is so simple to build and goes together. So even the old stuff goes together so easily that it's not a challenge. I wouldn't if I got stuck in the middle of a paint job and burnt out, I wouldn't put it to one side and go off and build a dragon kit or attack on tank or something like that, because I'm doing too much thinking. I need something where I can turn my thinking off and just clean up the parts and assemble it. And that's where Bandai is good, and that's where Games Workshop's great. You just clean the parts and you assemble it. That's it. There's no stress. There's no thinking. And that's what you need sometimes. If ever you're in the middle of doing something and you're starting to get that, I can't be bothered, don't carry on ever. Just doesn't matter what it is. It could be a paid commission build and you could be 6 months behind. It doesn't matter. Just stop, because if you force it, you're going to do bad work, and then it's going to get worse and worse. And it's like a grudge hump. It's just not fun. Nobody enjoys it. It's not fun. You feel terrible afterwards, and the end results are always catastrophic. So yeah, don't. But yeah, so if something's simple to build, I can enjoy the build. That's why I really want to build my my 2 Forge World tanks, my Macarius Vanquisher and my Malcador Infernus that George got me. I know they're not going to be simple builds because they're resin and it's Forge World, but they've not got millions of parts, and I don't mind bending things to fit. That's not so bad. I don't mind. So I'm looking forward to building them. Tomcat, I need more Master Grade and Perfect Grade. Yes. I do like the Perfect Grade Zaku. I've never finished it. I will do one day. He's schmoozing that much, it's making me ill, says Andy about Lewis. Yes. Same here, love building and take it a bit too far, but not got much experience painting. Steve as well. Steve's another one who builds and doesn't really enjoy the painting side. There's 3 types of makers. There's the builders, there's the painters, and then there's the ones that like both. And I'm definitely in the painter camp, but I don't mind a little bit of building. There are people who just like to paint, and there are people who just like to build. Steve Munday, he makes all these little scratch build things. He loves the building process. He doesn't really do the painting. He doesn't enjoy it. He loves the building and scratch building, and he's good at it. Athel McNichols in, and welcome Athel. Good afternoon, Foxy. Lewis Williamson, I need more practice at building and painting. Not very good at either. I find the parts too small. Are you taking the mick? Seriously? With that? Lewis is making... Can I just point out, right? Lewis is making guns for his battleship that are about the size of that dice. And each one comes with like 400... Each one is made out of about 150 photo etch parts. And he makes a deck gun. Something that big. And it looks perfect. You can shut up. You're good at build. You have no worries about the build. If you can make a photo etch deck gun out of 100 parts that's that big, just sorted on the building side, dude. Plastic kits are not a challenge. Yeah, there's self-deprecating, and then they're just taking the mickey. Yeah, all of us. Every time he does a picture of his ship, and it's like, oh god, we're not anywhere near that good at building photo etch. No mojo from me leads to the sudden urge of taking an entire master grade off the sprues and into the sorting box. I've got 3 of those full with 3 kits in sorted parts. Yeah, that's the downside of Bandai, of those kits. You think, oh, I could just get all the parts off the sprues and into a sorting box. And then you get them into the sorting box. And then you realise you've got to denub and sand all those parts and you go, oh. Yeah, you've got to kind of ride that trough before you get back on the crest of the wave. Athol says, I had an urge to fix my Dyson cleaner now that my new guard has arrived, and guess what? It works perfectly. Yes. Whenever anything breaks in this house, I have this hope that basically, I suppose like an orc, really. I'll go to sleep and go to bed, not worry about it, and then the next day it'll work perfectly. And sometimes, 99% of the time, it does. I don't know why. Like when my broadband falls over, I'm like, oh well, I'll just go to bed, and it'll be fine by tomorrow, and it is. I seem to just fly by the seat of my pants on the things not working. I need more area. Yeah, I find the parts too small, he says. Psst, you can shut up. You flipping photo etch monster you are. Just shut up. I like building and painting, says Scott, but I am really drawn to weathering stuff for some reason. It's not even that. You're really drawn to IDF stuff for some reason. Colin's in. Festa67 Workshop. Hey, Colin. How you doing, buddy? We're talking about builders, painters, and both. So are you a builder, a painter, or both? I know we've talked about it before, but for everybody in chat, are you a builder, or are you a painter, or are you a bit of both? What do you like? Which do you like and why? Also, bench and belly as well. Beck Storm says, I think I'd really like painting too, but I haven't got a spray booth and I have to be careful as Mum has breathing issues as it is, says Beck. There's nothing wrong with brush painting. You don't have to use an airbrush. You don't have to use spray paints. One of the things that drew me to Games Workshop stuff, because I was getting burnt out on Gunpla, which was a lot of airbrush work, I got drawn to these, and it's only since I started doing Games Workshop stuff in the last 3 or 4 years that I've started to learn how to brush paint. I'm no master. I've only been doing it for 3 or 4 years, and I love it so much to now that it gets to the point that when I have to paint something with an airbrush, when I have to use my airbrush, I get grumpy because I'm like, I don't want to be messing about with the airbrush. I don't want to paint it with a brush. Yes. So you do get in the habit. I'm going to have to drill his barrel out, but I forgot about that. You do get in the habit of preferring not to use an airbrush. You don't have to. Depends what you make. If you make, shiny sports cars and fighter planes, it's a little more difficult to actually not spray them in anyway. But if you're doing like miniatures, you don't need an airbrush. You may need to go outside and rattle can a primer, for example. That's always a good idea. But then you can do that outside, and therefore your mum's not at risk then. But then you're at the mercy of the weather. So, and there is also the rattle can option for painting if you want to spray stuff. Again, you should do it outside. Vincent says, I actually had a chat with Team Inept earlier today about how super detailers in shipbuilding are just crazy. All those fiddly braces and cranes and davits. Yeah. At some point in my future, I do have that big massive container ship that Mama Fox bought me on a whim for a laugh. The big Revel container ship with 1 billion containers. I'm going to make that into a spaceship. I'm going to put rockets and things on it. But at some point, I do want to do a kit of, not like a Titanic type thing, not an ocean liner, and not like a battleship, but a junky old rusty tramp steamer in a small scale. So not like a little thing, but something that's like 2 or 3 foot long, a nice big massive kit that I can get some rigging on and some antenna wires and stuff. Because I did that U-boat and it was good fun. It was stressful, but it was good fun, and I did enjoy it. So I think a tramp steamer kit, some sort of shonky old tramp steamer or little non-cruise ship steam, like you know the kind of thing I mean. One funnel, one stack, and it was really not a fishing vessel, but like a tramp steamer is the only word I can come up with really. That kind of, it's got, so I can make it look junky and battered and beaten. That'd be good. Andy McLeish says, Colin, sup, you slag. Jumped. AJ Dodger says, builder but moving into painting. And when it comes to painting, don't forget, there's not just airbrushing or brush painting. You can do both. And some people prefer one, some people excel at airbrushing and suck at brush painting. Some people marvel and excel at brush painting, but absolute garbage at airbrushing. Tailored Tailor your hobby to what you like to do more and what you think you're better at, what you enjoy more. You can always get better at anything. If you're a great brush painter but you suck at airbrushing, that's fine. You just need to do more airbrushing and you'll get better at it. Or other way around, same thing. If you're airbrushing, if you're a natural at airbrushing but you really suck at brush painting, just do more brush painting. I've only been doing brush painting for 3 years and I'm loving it. Colin says, painter, no belly, bench, E-models part 3 film editing. No belly. You need to sort that out. So how can you say painter when you scratch build bits on all your ATATs and stuff? You're like adding all your bits and bobs. I think you're better both. I could be wrong. You know better than I do. Athol says, I enjoy building, painting and basing. So all of it then, basically. Belly tonight will be southern fried chicken and steak-sized chips. Oh, I still want KFC. Ooh. I want KFC so much, I'm making the camera shake. Ooh. Paul KK23, love to build and take my time with both painting and building. However, when I was younger, the defo wasn't the case. When I was very young, I used to build a model and then that was the thing I play with. It was a toy. It was just a cool toy that I wouldn't be in a toy form. I remember being about 10 years old and building it wasn't Tamiya. It may have been Italeri, but then again, it was quite good. It was very detailed. It might have been I don't know who made it. It was a GMC, World War II American GMC truck in 135th. And it was in grey plastic. And it was great because I used to play with that. Got my little 135th figures. It was a toy. I didn't use it as a model. Nipple belly, well, waiting for lunch, barbecue sandwich. It jumped. Hang on, barbecue sandwich. And later, I'll start again. Belly, well, waiting for lunch, barbecue sandwich and tater tots. Although she says tater toes. Tater tots, Dr. Pepper, bench. I'm too tired when I get home to start work on a model. Yep, downside of having the daily grind. Graham McRoberts, a builder and a painter and just starting to learn how to weather. There's a whole world opening up to you there, Graham. Darren says, there's an amazing video on YouTube of someone airbrush painting space marines. They look really cool. A lot of people do use airbrushing. A lot of people use them just to get like the highlights and lowlights and zenithal highlighting and stuff. When I do these for George, I may well do that just to, make the process a bit easier and make him look a bit better. Nathan of the Nerds, welcome. Nathan of the Nerds. Nathan of the Nerds says, hello, welcome. Not seen you before. I'm not sure what I guess. I'm not sure. Wow, hang on. I need vodka in there, not water. Guthorn, can you read the chat, please? Because I'm just sucking at it. Hello, I am not sure what I am. I guess a planner. It's more seeing the dioramas come together that is my favourite part. Taking things on sprues and making a cool scene with them, even if it takes me months. Yeah, awesome sauce. More Draka says a bit of both, depending on mood and time. Lewis says, love building, hate painting, but do it because I have no choice because my beautiful wife encourages me to do it. Oh God, he's doing it again. He spent money. He spent money, but he's not in a position to actually get flowers. Maybe he couldn't go on the Interfloor website, so he's doing everything else he can apart from sending you flowers. You know, like when he sends you flowers and you sit there and you go, that's really nice, but what have you done? It's that, but he's just doing it with schmooze. There's some buttering up going on here. Team Inept is definitely a painter. If I had to choose one, Belly, I think it's Chili. Ooh. Andy McLeish, I airbrushed my Mustang, but also hand painted the interior and bumpers and engine. Yep. Lynn says, believe it or not, I do like to take nubs off. It's relaxing to me and the building is fun. Painting is okay. I brush paint, but painting large pieces is a pain, but I get it done. Yeah, that's when you're painting large stuff like that, that's when it comes down to the paints and the brushes that you use. Because you can get really nice finishes brush painting, but it's not if you use the wrong paint or the wrong brushes. Colin says, I'm an ex-custom motorcycle painter. Well, there is that. Yes, there is that. True. There is that. But you do like sticking bits on other bits. We've got to be honest. Belly update says bassist, tonight burgers with onions and Belly update. Tonight's burger. Oh, God damn it. I'm failing. Raging bassist. Belly update hyphen. Tonight burgers with onion rings and chips. It's because he says onions rings. Look. He says, I don't know if you can see it. Look, onions rings. Can you see that? me scroll it down. Onions. I can point out people's spelling mistakes. Yes, I can do that. Onions ring, and that kept my brain kept going. Wait, what? That's not right. Lewis said something. I'm going to read it out anyway. I'm going to read it out. I don't know why Paul blocked the comment, but Lewis Williams says belly pork pie, savoury egg, and chicken Kiev ball thing. Bench is about 150 miles away with 1350 HMS Belfast with a couple of hours of big bits of photo etch. Did you mean to get rid of that comment? Oh, he's been timed out. Oh, that's why. Paul says, right, for the good of all in chat, and he times Lewis out for 300 seconds. We're only jesting with you, Lewis. Yes, because he's been butchering up Nat non-stop. We're always a bit worried we're concerned if Lewis doesn't at least get into trouble once in a stream. It's not natural. I'm a builder, weatherer, and I've just gotten into battle damage and full paint jobs on master grade, says Nim. Basis says, need to say thanks quick, you've given me my mojo back. Iceman almost complete. Good girl. Mordraka says, it sounds like he might have also forgotten an important date. Now, I think if Lewis had forgotten something important like that, then we would know about it. By God, would we know about it in chat. Lewis was nice on Chris's show also. Something's going on. Yes. I'm failing at typing. Shush, says bassist. Festa says, I may have resin printed a Bane blade. Holy cow. Dear Lord. Paul says, I banned him because he was making us all vomit. Yeah, it was getting a bit saccharine round it. Nathan of the Nerd says, I'm failing too. The tracks on my Rhino have a defect. They are too wide and I'm trying to shave small bits off to make them fit. Ooh, is that a plastic Rhino or is it a resin Rhino? Forge World job. It's unusual. The tracks aren't the right size. Very unusual for a GW kit to be like that. Just slowly sand them down, buddy. Or if you've already glued it together, I can't remember how the Rhino works. If it's the bodywork and the bit on the side, you can't see that. If you got the bodywork and then if it's like you've got the body of the Rhino and then the bit on the side and the track goes, the track goes over the top. If these two are different, like you get a Lehman Russ, you get the main body hull and you get the plate on the side and the track sits on top. If that's a bit off, you could, if you're not glued them together, you could add a shim, like a little bit of extra plastic between the two. If you've got like a peg and a hole, increase the space a bit, might be easier. Or you could just sand the tracks down. There's the other option. It's easier, maybe. 4 hours to print his Bane blade, says Paul. Says Colin. Nathan says, yes, Games Workshop, and it surprised me too. Wow. Yeah, I've never come across that. Never come across that. But if it's like, I've just happened to have one here, like I've never built a... Hang on, I've got a Rhino somewhere. Oh, it's stored away. It's stored away. I can't remember on the Rhino if it's like on these where you get like you get the side plate on the Lehman Russ and then you get the hull. And these tracks just sit between the two, but that's a separate piece to this. So this bit here, the body, and this side plate, and for some reason that's too close and that's why it's not fitting. Because if I remember rightly, they're all the same track pieces. The Rhinos, the Lehman Russes, they're all the same kind of tracks. So, yes. I'll let you into a secret. Shh. This Lehman Russ, it's one I built for my army, but it's not going to be for my army. This is going to get a special paint job, and something special is going to happen with this. Just not going to say any more than that, but there's a special plan for this. Yes. In the future. Okay. Model making trucker, or Lewis as we know him, is back. He says, okay, everyone said I need to stop getting in trouble, so I was being all nice, and I still get timed out. Lol, normal service will resume. Nat, you not having a Gundam. Oh, and I choose to get married on D-Day. I will never forget it. There you go, he's back. Normality is restored. Colin says, it's a smaller version. I've test printed it before I scale up to full size. Need dimensions of a real scale one so I can break it up into small sections. Yes. I have snagged a kitty, says Nim. Ooh. You mean one that you already had? You just grabbed it, or you mean you've just found a new cat? I still haven't got a cat, just pointing that out. Stick a Bane blade turret on the Russ. I do have a Bane Blade. I do have that Rust, but it's the Bane Blade is a different build. I don't have a spare Rust Blade. Spare Bane Blade turret, sadly. Right, one last dude. It's only taken about 8 weeks to build these guys, because I can't sit and do a build quickly while I'm doing a stream. And I'll remember to do the barrel on this. The first thing I'm going to do is drill the barrel out, because I keep forgetting that. See how much of a bosh I can make of this one, shall we? New season of Bosch, by the way, on Amazon Prime, if you subscribe to Amazon Prime. Season 6 is out. They don't bother telling you. Amazon don't tell you. They don't give you notifications. You just happen to hope you go on and say, oh, there's a new season of Bosch, look at that. Right, let's get this sucker drilled out. Almost in the middle, that'll do, near enough. Drilling, drilling, drilling. Chicka chicka ching, chicka chicka ching, squeaky, squeaky drill. For some reason, the word espadrille just came into my head. I don't even know what an espadrille is. It's something to do with shoes. There you are, look at that. Perfect! Perfect in the middle. Oh, that's just so sexy the way I've got that right the first time. Damn, I'm good. I'm not. I just celebrate when I occasionally get a barrel drilled perfectly the first time. I don't have to correct it or tweak it. Little sidey bits. Do. Stab me in the finger and I'll kill you. I hate doing these side bits because it always pops through the side dead quick without warning and stabs you in the finger if you're not careful. Most deceiving. Go. Now remember my handy trick for cleaning up when you've been doing drilling and you've got some rough and ragged bits. Extra thin. Get most of it off. And just quickly run it over the barrel, over the end of the barrel, in the barrel, and through the little vent. Done. There you go. Now all those little fluffy bits of plastic have now melted and softened down. You've got a nice smooth barrel. Yeah. Now I'm covered in cat hair. They're shedding their winter coats. The lockdown sucks. Our gaming club was going to hold a Flames of War tournament and now it's cancelled, says Nathan. Yeah. That's why I'm doing more. I've not done massive loads of streams. I know Chris has done like loads and loads of streams. I've been trying to do a load of streams as more than normal. And that's why I'm doing streams like this, because A, it gets me to the bench when I've got no mojo to be at the bench and I'm struggling a bit, but also it just gives you guys a place to hang out, because you're all in the same position as, we're all in the same position pretty much. A few of us are working, but you guys are working, but a lot of us are just stuck at home. And if you're stuck at home and the only thing you've got to do is your hobby becomes a bit of a nightmare after a while. It's like, imagine if you could eat just cheesecake every day. It'd be the best thing ever until you're 2 months in and you suddenly realise you just want to die. So doing this hopefully just makes it a little bit easier. Either you're sat at the bench and you're working, but you've got me to listen to and you've got the chat to talk to, or maybe you're just not doing it. Lewis says, I don't know if cat hair is the same as dog hair. Well, one's from a cat. Sorry. But I find it best to use Nat's favourite woolly jumper. He's back. He's back. He's going to get in trouble. I've just realised to my shame I haven't made Nat a mod on this channel. So he's not at any risk. He may have been emboldened by this fact. Darn it. Where are we? Espadrilles are like closed sandals. Okay, that's something I never want to actually ever see then, because that sounds terrible. Vincent, with your building speed, I'm willing to bet the Marine squad that came in the box started 2 years ago is still gathering dust somewhere, isn't it? I've not actually built them. I think I've used one of them as a test pig, and I've still got them. They're in the storeroom. I've not actually. I might have used one of them as a test pig because I needed to find out if I built one of them because I need to find if it will fit through a cupola on a tank turret. I had to build one up as a test pig. Oh, look at that big massive nub right there in the middle of the pauldron. Oh, god damn it. But yeah, I've still got them. This is mine. The nub is. I don't mind when the nub's on the trim around the pauldron because it's very easily cleaved off. But when the nub is actually in the middle of the pauldron, it's a right pain in the bum. I think he hasn't even cleaned up and painted the ones that are already in that shipment, says Vincent. Yeah, I've not touched any of them yet. I've still got them. They're going to get dealt with. Don't you worry about that. They're in my Crusader case. If you go in my Crusader case with all my army in it, all those guys on the motorbikes and stuff, they're all still there. They're just needing. I've not got many of them painted. I've not actually painted. I painted of my entire personal own army. I painted 10 Space Marines. I painted a squad of Space Marines, Primaris Marines. I painted a squad of Skitari and that Imperial Knight. I've not even finished that Taurox Prime yet. I've not painted the guy in that. I've not finished the Chimera that Dad and the guys sent me because I've not painted the dude on that yet. Still got it. It's over there. I can see it right in front of me. Well, not to my side, not in front of me. But I think it's also because I stopped doing the Xeon army to start on this, so that's kind of gone on hold for a little bit. I've not got very far on that. You know what I'm like. I'm like a puppy with a tennis ball, and then you give him another tennis ball. It just goes wrong. Right, so that's that nub, I think. Just check it in the light. Yeah, near enough. It's good enough. Oh no, there's a little... I hate these little things you get on the trim. Little extra bit because of the moulding process. It annoys me. I've got to carve it out now. Little extra bit of nonsense. Shave it away. Shave it away. That's the wrong tool. I think he's holding off on those bikes to the end. Says, no. These are different bikes. Vincent sent me some of the Dark Angels. Is it? I don't remember now which ones they are. The guys on the bikes that have got wings and stuff, but they're not crappy. They're not crappy Space Marine bikes. They're actually decent Space Marine bikes because they've got wings and stuff. So they're a bit more interesting to paint. They're not just generic Space Marine bikes. I've also, since Primaris Marines came out, I've got 15 boxes of old generation Marines to build. I know. That's the thing. I love the look of this Primaris Marines. I kind of want to build them first. This is really annoying, this little bit here. Really hard to tidy up. With this, I'll try and show you what I'm doing. What I'm trying to do here is I've got a piece of card. I'm trying to... You do get this very occasionally on Games Workshop mouldings, but on these, you get the pauldron here. Let me find a decent pen. You get the pauldron. Okay, and you've got the pauldron there with the trim, and there's the trim that comes around the side like that. But every now and then, because there's a seam line down the middle, you'll get this thing. Because the seam line, the moulding line, it kind of goes like this. So you can sand that mould line away there, no problem. But this bit, where it means it's like that. It kind of looks like that. And I hate it because you've then got to trim this away, this bit. It's really annoying. It's really... I very, very occasionally get it on a Games Workshop moulding, but I seem to get it all the time on these non-official... what do you call it? Conquest ones. It's not the end of the world, it's just a bit of a pain because you either end up with lots of scratchy marks you can't quite sand out, or you end up with a trim on the pauldron that's kind of varies in thickness, and either way it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, I do have the cunning idea that when all these are built, and the beauty with Space Marines is when you get them all built and primed and painted, and if you see anything on them that's not spot on perfect, like a bit of the embossing around the pauldron, or maybe there's a gouge in the plastic where you slip with the knife, if anything goes a bit wrong, you know the best way to fix it? You stick a purity seal on it. It's the absolute easiest fix. That's one of the beauties of Games Workshop stuff. You get so many little spare bits and bobs in all these kits that if you keep them all, then eventually, whatever you make, if something goes a bit wrong and looks a bit ropey, you just stick a purity seal on it. Or, you know, a water canteen or some other bit of equipment that you've got a load of lying around. Great. It certainly gets rid of a lot of filling and cleanup duties sometimes. Which, given that I'm the laziest builder in the world, is actually brilliant. Got mould on there, mould line. A little bit of mould line on the butt of the gun, but nothing on the arm that I can worry about. Oh, Cy Reynolds is in. Woohoo! Hello. Cy Reynolds says the new bikes are coming through. I've seen them with my viewing holes. They are most awesome. Yes, there's new bikes that are Primaris compatible, I guess. See, and we know that Games Workshop can do good motorbikes because they did those Matalan dudes. I know it's not Matalan, that's a joke. They did the Matalan dudes on motorbikes, on their dirt bikes, and they look fantastic. And they just make you realise how rubbish the actual Space Marine bikes are. And one can only hope that they just take the moulds for those Space Marine bikes and just burn them and destroy them forever. They need to actually get on with... They need to crack on with getting lots of new Primaris stuff in so that they can just stop producing all the old crappy stuff. They need to get the Primaris replacements for everything in and sorted out. Because, you know, how many people have bought a particular vehicle, like a Rhino or something, only to find that you can't transport Primaris in it because they've got like a squad of 20 Primaris and they've got 3 vehicles that they can't now use because they didn't read the thing properly. It's a bit pants. They need to get all these vehicles done, get rid of all the old stuff, and stop making it. I can't look at the original Space Marines now and not just find them laughably badly proportioned. They're just terrible. Whereas before Primaris, they were just Space Marines. It was cool. But now you look at them and think, good God. It's like, before Primaris, nobody actually on the design team knew how legs actually worked. And when a lot of the Marines were just like stood there, legs akimbo, nowadays you get them all with dynamic walking and running poses. It's great. I love it. So yeah, they need to get on with the phasing out of the old stuff now. It's nonsense. Mordrak said they are generic bikes with DA vehicle upgrades to make them Raven Wing bikes. That's cool. They're still better than the default bikes then because they've got wings. At least the wings can not make them look quite so garbage as the original ones, as the generic ones. Someone should order the Dark Angels vehicle upgrade sprue so he can get the bikes done faster. No, I'm not keeping the bikes. They're for George. And I don't know what faction he wants them to be. He won't want them painted as Dark Angels or Raven Wings. I don't know what he'll want them painted as. He might want them painted as Hello Kitty for all I know. I could see George doing that. A squad of, like, you know, an entire army of Hello Kitty Space Marines. Yes, they're Raven Wing, not Blood Angels, I think. Are you sure the chap Athol's asking why his marine bikes look like blood or have Blood Angel markings? And Simon says, are you sure the chapter markings aren't terribly moulded swords? That's entirely possible with those old bike kits because they are garbage. Wouldn't mind a 40k Conrad Kurd, says Nathan of the Nerds. I keep missing that out. I do apologise. We should have the Primaris bikes and Land Speeder in a month or 2, but God knows Nurgle doing the rounds in the real world. Yeah. Anyway, let's crack on. Losing myself in thought there and forgetting completely that you guys are actually sat there watching. Is that the gun? Done. Have we done the gun? The gun is done. Gun's done. Done. Gun done. Gun done. Gun done. Gun done. Gun. Moving on. What time are we on? 5 o'clock. Not bad. Let's do the big flag-tacular flag. Yeah, so if you have your like building Space Marine stuff, keep all the little purity seals and knickknacks. Things. The same with, like, you know, Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum. Keep all the little extra, you know, what do you call them? Stop saying Fox. All the little sort of, you know, water canteens and pouches and stuff. Keep them all. Keep them all. Because they're great for covering up goofs. If you screw something up real bad, you can just cover it up with a this or a that, a bit or a bob. Because you have to remember, in this world that we live, I am, if not I'd say one of the laziest model makers in the world. Because I really can't be bothered doing anything. That's the way I am. But I like to celebrate that, because out of that laziness comes a desire to find easier ways to get the same results as more complex methods. You know, for example, I really can't. Sometimes there are a few times when I really could not be bothered setting up the airbrush, and I didn't want to have to clean it out. So I practiced and got the hang of doing that kind of airbrush effect with dry brushing. I'm not brilliant at it, but I'm getting better. I didn't invent it, but I didn't get taught it. I just kind of made it up in my brain. Because although it may be more work technically, I find it more enjoyable than having to clean the airbrush and sort the airbrush out. I came up with gunk washing because I was too lazy to do lots of other weathering methods, and I wanted a quick and fast way of doing it. I didn't invent it. I found out afterwards. But I invented it at the time. I didn't see anybody else doing it. I made it up in my brain. Only later found out it was an old school method. But, you know, I made it up in my brain at the time. Sorry, I got a tickly cough there. And my thing has always been teaching people how to do what I do and trying to demystify it and make people realise that you can get great results without... You don't have to be some kind of, like, you know, Meijin level savant model maker to get the best results, to get amazing weathering and painting results. That a lot of the things that we take for granted in terms of techniques and methods that an outsider wouldn't even know about and thinks is all skill and dark magic are oftentimes a lot simpler than you think. And I try and teach that. I try and demystify it so that there's a lot in this hobby that somebody new would come along and be like, oh, I can't do any of that. I'm not going to bother because it looks far too complicated to get that kind of result. And I'd be like, no, seriously. It's really easy. Try it. You'll find it's really easy and you can do it. I like to encourage people and say, what you think is a miracle is not. It's just a little bit of logic. And that, being a lazy model maker is kind of handy in that way, because I try and find a simpler way to get the same results for myself. And that means then I can hopefully teach those methods and say to you, yes, you could spend a week doing this particular technique, or here's a faster method that has the same effect. It's just faster. Or it's just easier. Like paint chipping. Here you go. Perfect example. Not necessarily faster, but paint chipping. Yes, you can use chipping fluids and you can get some fantastic results. However, there's a certain level of skill and understanding required to get the best results. And not everybody can do that. Or you can just paint chips on with a really fine brush and it takes longer, but it's a lot easier and requires less skill. There you go, done. I'm always trying to find shortcuts, and if I can bring those shortcuts to you guys and show you that you don't need, sometimes there's nothing wrong with a shortcut, then you go. Athol says, okay, Foxy, we don't all aspire to an individual's way of building and painting. We each have our own artistry. Exactly, but I just like to set a groundwork and say, this is an end result. you can do it this way, or here's an easier way to do it. And once you've done it, you can then find your own way to do it. I'm not saying everybody should build models like me at all. I never say that the way I do something is the right way. I just say it's a way. I try and show a way in to get people started with the expectation that they will over time find their own way of doing things. I never say this is the way you should do it. I say here's a way you can do it. Try this. Because everybody will find their own way of doing things. I would never expect someone to stick to my way of doing it and there you go. I'm not that egotistical. But I'd rather give someone a way to... I'd rather show them how to get started and give them something to try, and then they can take it from there, than just not do it at all. That's my idea. I'm not saying this is the right way to do anything. I'm just saying, try this. Get your foot in the door. Off you go. There you go. Now go and figure it out for yourself. Fox still has that Chaos Brutal. What was it from that box to build? I sent him that. I've got all that stuff you sent me, Vincent. Hasn't been touched yet. I've still got it. Apart from, I think I'd say I built one of them as a test pig. I've still got it all. It's most of it's in my Crusader case, waiting to be cleaned up and painted. But yeah, that's a long project. Unfortunately, in my world, that's not a moneymaker. It's not something I can build and sell. And for the last year, of course, I've been tied up with stuff that I couldn't build and sell anyway. But as soon as I've got this Millennium Falcon done, I can get back into doing what I was originally doing, which was making models, filming them, and then selling them, which is, you know, it's a source of income. I need to get back into that. So stuff that I can't sell always takes a little bit of a backseat. Until, you know, such time as I can luxuriate in the stuff that just for the sake of it. That's stuff I want to build, and stuff I can build just for me. What are we doing? Nathan of the Nerd says, what annoyed me about Warhammer Conquest is as soon as Mortal Realms came out, their premium sub was models. It just made me a bit irritated that the Conquest got cardboard boxes and game mats. Yeah, I've said that before. I don't really... Well, to me personally, and this is my opinion, you know, you may see differently, I don't find the Sigmar stuff... Hang on, I think there's somebody at the door. Give me 1 second. No, it was Mama Fox making a brew. I heard something knock. Yeah, I don't find the Sigmar stuff anywhere near as interesting. It could be just because it's all easy to build stuff anyway, but I don't mind the, you know, the Stormcast, but the Nighthorn, they just don't. They're not interesting to me visually. I'm not a player. I'm a builder, painter. So yeah. So I wouldn't see the armies that you get at the end of it as anywhere interesting to me, because it's a lot of skeleton dudes who are kind of minimal. But having said that, what you get as the extras is much more interesting, because you get a load of plastic models of all the different factions, so you can get little tasters of what the other factions are. And I was like, whoa, we get some nice... I mean, our playmats are nice. The cardboard boxes are kind of useless, let's be honest. Because what you're going to store in those boxes you get? Nothing. You can't put your models in there, they'll just get battered. But, you know, the playmats are nice, the dice are nice, I like the dice. But, yeah, in terms of value, it's a difficult one. The extras, the premium extras are much more worth it if you're on the Sigmar one, the Mortal Realms. But, for me personally, the actual armies you build up on is interesting. Where are we up to? Got to go, the wife wants to chat. Take care, Athel. Oh, I'm back. No telephone lines to Ukraine. Oh, well, never mind. Reborn in rationality. We need to talk. Always a bad sign. Vincent says, I'm fine with you selling one of the squads that came with that. Just pick what you want to keep for yourself. No. I'm keeping them for my army. They're mine, dude. They're mine. You're not selling them to anybody. They're mine. Mine. I never sell gifts. Not ever. Not how it works. Whoop. If someone's gone to the trouble of gifting me something, then it will never get sold on because it's a gift to me from that person. And therefore, I treasure it. It doesn't get sold. That's why I'm not selling like the Chimera that Dad and the guy sent me. And other ones that have been sent, they don't get sold. You know, it's why much as I'd like to like completely burn and destroy all the Jar Jar Binks that have been sent to me over the years, they were gifts and I shall keep them and treasure them. God damn it. Yeah. Jamie sent me a load of the Warhammer heroes, the Space Marine heroes that I've got to build and paint yet. They're not going to get sold. They're mine. They were gifts, very kind gifts, and they'll get treasured. Oops. Still got those, Jamie, don't worry. They will get built up and painted at some point. I've got Gunpla in boxes that I've not started yet. Again, I could sell them for hundreds, or I could just not sell them because they were a gift. And therefore, I shall keep them. But at the moment, because I couldn't do any of that last year at all, and that really was a major problem for me. So just for a little while, the focus is going to be, once I've done that Falcon, for a little while, the focus is going to have to be on stuff I can actually put up for sale, because I need to make the income. It's my job. The interesting models in Sigma are the exotic 8 to 400 quid units. They're talking about that. Someone has the solar chariot thing. Yes, I do have that from you guys. The big solar chariot thing. That looks interesting. Sometimes I don't really have anything against Sigma, really. But I don't have any feelings. I don't have anything, I don't feel a great overwhelming happiness about the Nighthaunt, for example, because they just seem just skeletons. Okay, really. Look at them all, it's just this wash of the glaze, the turquoise. I'm like, they're not that interesting to me. The Sigmarines, yeah, I can get on with them. They're quite cool. Once I realised that you can paint your whatever they're called, your Celestial Sigmarine, I can't remember what bloody hell they're called. Stormcast Eternals, that's it. I never remember. Once I realised you can paint them in different colours apart from gold, I'm like, oh, okay. Now that would be interesting. Because I realised that the gold and blue boys are just the equivalent of Ultramarines in Sigmar. It's like, oh, okay, in that case, yeah, you can paint them whatever colour you want. That's more interesting. But yeah, Nighthaunt, nah. Yes, the guys did send me that clock truck thing. I don't know what it is. It's like a horse and cart with a big, like, orrery on the back. I don't like that word, orrery. Orrery clock thing, and it looks fantastic. I do need to make that. It's there on the side. I can see it where I am. Wasn't there going to be a Jar Jar painting episode at one point? Anyway, moving on. Nathan says, I bought myself the Great White Shark Sigma model because it looks like such a cool model. There are some fantastic kits in the Age of Sigmar line. Don't get me wrong. There are some beautiful models in there. And I've got a couple. I've got the thing that Dave and Vincent sent me, the horse and cart with the planet thing on the back. I don't know what it is. The Solar Auxiliary or something? No, not Solar Auxiliary, Solar something. I've got the monster thing that Simon sent me. The Nurgle thing. With the bloke on the back. I think that's Sigma. But there are some beautiful models that I will make them. Don't get me wrong, there's some stuff I'm going to make that's Sigma based. Some of the monsters and things, I'll be making them. I've got my Shouty Space Horse, my the thing with the Sigmarine on the back, with the Lord Celestant, and the, what's it called? Stardrake, that's the one. I've got a Stardrake. I've got it built, need to prime it, paint it. Would you ever consider making a World War II diorama? I have made World War II dioramas. Absolutely, yes. I've done, I grew up building World War II stuff. I don't often do dioramas. I have done dioramas though. I did the closest I've got, sort of, is if you look on my channel, there's a playlist for the Imperial Skitter, which is actually a trumpeter AML 90 French armoured car from the 1960s set into a diorama, but with Warhammer stuff stuck on it. So that's kind of a diorama. World War II. It's not really at all. I'm talking rubbish. But yes, I would. When I do my Forge World tanks, my Macarius Vanquisher, for example, it does have a very World War One look to it. Not the Vanquisher, sorry, the Malcador Infernus. It has a very World War One look to it, and I'm doing it as Death Corps. And Death Corps have a very World War One German gas mask look to them. So that will probably be done in a diorama. I'm not going to play with them, so that will be done as a diorama, I would suspect. And that'll have a kind of real World War One vibe to it, so mixed with World War Two and obviously a bit of 40k. Next one, I've just done the wrong one. I put him in the wrong thing now. That's the one I've just done. Nurgle. So Reynolds says you've got that Nurgle Glotkin. That's what it was. I can't remember the name. I mentioned that. He's a disgustingly awesome model. Yep, that's primed. It just needs painting. Ashley Swan is in. Hey guys, welcome Ashley. Yes, that big great white shark thing, Nathan, does look awesome. There are some fantastic looking Age of Sigmar models that I will get and just paint, because they'll be the things that I just get and build and paint and sell because I want to paint them. Fox builds a Sigmar army, puts a Star Drake and Chariot on the table for instant 2k army. Good game, game over, lol. Yeah, there you go. Bam, and there it is. Well, might need one squad of grunts to flesh it out, but close enough. Osric's in. Hello, chap, says Osric. Hello, Osric. What I do need to do, though, going forward, maybe next year at some point, when I have some money, is find someone to build my Death Corps. Well, slowly build up a selection of Death Corps of Krieg dudes, infantry. If I ever get round to painting, I'm going to be Imperial, and I want some Death Corps action going on, because Death Corps are cool. So I'm going to slowly build up infantry for Death Corps over the next 40 years. But at some point, I will need someone to assemble them for me. Not all of them, but because of the absolute stress factory that I had when I tried to do the arms on my 10 infantry advancing firing, yeah, I'm not doing that again. Screw that. I'll get someone else to build them, and then I'll just paint them. Or I might just go on eBay and buy them pre-made. People build them and prime them and then sell them, so I'm happy to do that. Don't normally recommend that to take money away from Games Workshop, but in this case, I strongly recommend it, because seriously, screw making those. I'll still do a little. I've said before though, like when you get like a little two-man heavy thud gun squad, it's just two guys. I can't really go wrong with the arms on them. But when it's 10 dudes and you don't know which arms go to which, and if you get the first one wrong, then there's a knock-on effect, a butterfly effect. Yeah, screw that. So I will build up a Death Corps army, but I will get someone else to make them for me. Pay them, I don't mind. Make these, send them back. I'll prime and paint them. There you go, done. £5,000. Oh, be not. Do you remember what brand of pledge to get from Tesco? Says Graham McRobert. It's just Pledge, but it changes. The current name is Pledge Revive It, but you want to look inside the label, and you want to look for the formula number. And I will tell you now, the formula number is, because it's stored on my phone. You will see on the label. Normally, you can see through the bottle. And there's lots of little tiny text, and somewhere it will say an SC Johnson product formula number, and that's my nephew's phone number. You don't want that. And what you want is, god damn it, it must say formula hashtag, the hash symbol, hash 35 star 3597. So hash 35 star 3597. That's what you want. I'll put it in chat. Just because then, it's in chat there. Where's it gone? Right, it's a Mac keyboard. Where the heck is that? There it is. Stupid Mac keyboards. Putting things in the wrong place. How do you do the hash key on the... There you go. Hashtag 35. What was it? I've lost it. Hashtag 35. star 3597. There you go. That's what you want to see. It'll say somewhere like an SC Johnson formula, or it'll say an SC Johnson product formula, and it'll list it on the inside of the label somewhere. That's what you want, because it could be called anything. It's probably going to be called Pledge Revive It, but I think they've changed it again. If it's a really old bottle from stock, it might be called Pledge Floor Care Finish, 2 times more shine. If it's a really old bottle from really old stock, it could be Pledge Multi-Surface Wax. And that's not even clear. They changed the formula again. But yeah, that's what you want. Hashtag 35*3597. And for some reason, Colin says Wibble, but I don't know why. Why are you saying Wibble? Fox, where did you get your soft polishing sticks? The one I use are too stiff. These are Ultimate Modelling products. There's my big one. Ultimate Modelling products. You can get them from eModels, of course, emodels.co.uk. My link is in the description below my video. Use them. Or you can get them from UMP's website, which is umpretail.co.uk. I've got loads of these, and I like them. They're just squishy. There's different grits. The only criticism I have, and Paul, I'm sure Paul knows this, the only criticism I have and that I bitch about, is that I want to pimp these when I'm using them. But I can't say, what I'd love to be able to do is say, go in with the 600 grit, do this, and then go in with the 1200 grit. But I don't know, because there's no marking on them as to what grit they are. And once I've opened the packet, I throw it away. So I've got no idea what grit. That's rough. That's kind of smooth, but not too super smooth. I don't know. So Paul, again, I always say this whenever Paul, put the grit on the sticks themselves so we know. So I can say, I'm using this stick from this place, and it is the so many grit that we can, it's extra pimpage, do it. Yes. Andy McLeish, Fox, when the time comes, if you want, I'll help you build I misread that. Help you build the Deathcore Krieg. Yeah, that's not how you spell it, but near enough. Fox wibbling about his Mac keyboard. Yeah, Mac nonsense. I don't know. Love the iPad. Hate the keyboard. Yeah, thank you, Andy. I might take up on that. It'll take me about 30 years to actually assemble a good enough force there, because they're all like £500 for 10. So, we're up to Athel's off. See you, Athel. Take care, buddy. I got those sanders, love them. Took a while to get here in Canada, says John Paul. Welcome, John. Yeah, they are really, really good. You'll go through them quite quickly, but you get packs of multis, or you just get packs of like 5 or 6 or 10 of each. I've also got a Flory sanding stick, which is that one. I've only got one Flory sanding stick, which is that one. It's a polishing stick, and that's really good. Where you get it from? And I've also got, bizarrely, a sanding stick from the keyboard company, www.keyboard.co.com, where I got my IBM Model M keyboard from. So, yeah, go figure. For all your sanding stick, I just got that free. I ordered a keyboard and I got like that as a freebie, which is kind of nice. Yeah. They're kind of more sanding sponges than sanding sticks. They're kind of half and half between a sanding stick and a sanding sponge. I don't like solid sanding sticks, because if I want to go around a curve, the sponge will do that. It'll help keep this curve shape. But if I get something solid, it's just going to file it flat. So, yeah. But they've got less flexible ones as well. Yeah, I mark sides with a Sharpie on the sanders with the grit scale, Fox. Oh, and why don't I ever think of doing that? Just writing the grit on it. I should do that next time. It's Fox, says Graham. Holy crap, Fox is still live, says Paul. Yeah, I go till dinner time. That's how I work. I got a big pack of sanders from Flory at Telford last year, says I bought a load. Last time I went to Telford, I bought a whole mess of sanders from Phil Flory on his stand, and I've got no idea where I put them. I put them somewhere, but Christ knows where they went. Are they here? Oh, there we go. I've got some of them. There we go. Hey! These are 3 times sanding, 240, 1200 black. I've got some 1200 grits. What are these like? Ooh. A little bit of grit on that side, and a bit smoother on that side, and skvish-tastic. I knew I had them somewhere. I've got more somewhere, but I don't know where the rest have gone. I don't know. You're seeing all my drawers. I'm showing you all my drawers now. What's inside my drawers? Very few people have been able to look inside my drawers. It's very rare that somebody gets the opportunity to do that. The only people that have seen inside my drawers are my mate Busby, Tony, Helgen35, he's looked inside these drawers. That's it. And me, obviously. Sponge, says Lynn. I think she means sponge. Ooh, drawers, says Lynn. Right, anyway, let's get this. We can get this. This is the final dude. It is 5:30. I'm starting to kind of need to go for a wee, but I can hold that off for long enough to get this done. Then we're done. So, and I'm thinking about my dinner as well. A bit hungry now. Nom taculons. I need to put food into my face. We'll carve that bit off the bottom. I don't clean up the bottom of the feet because who cares? You never see them anyway. I'll give them a bit of a zizz to make them flat. Zizz. You know, a bit of a zizz. A bit of a nub there on the armpit. Armpit. Do 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 do. Any old nubbage? Nubulons, seam lines, mould lines. Yeah, a little bit of a filey file. I do find metal files. I've started to use them a lot more in the last few years. Especially where I need to maintain a perfectly flat surface. And they are kind of handy. Because the little metal files I've got, they kind of don't mess the plastic up too much if I'm gentle. But for things like the underside of that pauldron there, am I going a bit frame ratey there? It looked a bit frame ratey there for a second. Making some KD for lunch. What's KD? What's KD? Kill to death ratio? Ooh. Lynn says, oh my, it's only 10:30 AM and I'm hungry. Well, you need to make food and eat it, or just eat food. Flory sanders are lovely, soft sandy, they're squishy blue sticks. Simon Reynolds says I use them too, they're awesome. Vincent says they come in thinny stick format as well, which is very handy. I prefer them to ultimate. I've not really used a lot of Flory sanders. I'll give them a try at some point. I'm sure they're absolutely fine. I've just used these and I'm kind of used to these. But I've got those ones that I keep not using. I must use them at some point. I like kind of these squishy, spongy things. I'm always wary of ones that have got like smooth surfaces because I'm never quite comfortable with how they sand. Sometimes they drag bits around and scratch your surface up. A creature of habit is what I am. I think that's that bit done. Oh, a little bit of a mode line there. I'm going to tease this mode line out, I think. Tease. Too big. Let's use the old scrapey knife. It's 12:30 PM here, says Nim, and I've just made some bean dip. Yes. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good. What will you dip into your bean dip, though, Nim? This is the question. Or are you just going to have just dip? Ooh, suits you, sir, says Nathan. Craft dinner, mac and cheese. Oh, okay, right, I got you. Craft dinner. Yes, KD, mac and cheese. Right. Should we get this last dude built? And then I can go for an enormous wheel and make my dinner. Woohoo! Tortilla chips, Fox. Good girl. Good girl. Life will find a way. I don't know why I did that quote there. It's wholly irrelevant, but there you go. And the good thing with this is I don't have to glue two arms onto each other. Woohoo! Right, so. Assembling the dude. Let's assemble this dude. It's closing. More Draka. It's closing in on 2:35 hours. Look, hang on. I'll start that again. More Draka says it's closing on towards 2:30. Looking at the 12th mug of coffee for the early shift on this day. Ooh, nowhere near enough coffees. Okay, we'll get this bit glued down. Is that a dipple dip? Says Colin. Because it's a dip. I assume she's having a dip. Bit of glue down there. Run it into the little holes and crevices. Crevice. Just touching it to the gap. You all know. Tamiya extra thin. It's the glue you use, caterpillar action. Touch it to a gap and it gets sucked in because it's so thin. That's why we love it. Lovely. Tortilla, I've done that one. Lewis is back. Hi again. Vincent says 6:30 over here. I can get away with drinking another cup of coffee. Yee! I tend to drink coffee. I don't drink coffee all day every day, but if I drink coffee through the evening, I will do up until about. I won't really drink coffee after about 10 o'clock. Because if I do, I'll just never get to sleep. Sometimes on a Monday night after the E-model show, I'll have a brew. I'll make a brew then, but that's about it, really. About as late as that. That's the only time I'd ever do it. Because I just really will not sleep. And there's nothing worse than lying in bed and suddenly realising it's 5 in the morning and you're still not fallen asleep yet. Yeah. We have the arm. I'm going to glue him to the base first. Look at that. One thing you don't get on Games Workshop is big flipping nubs on the base. How very unprofesh. God. Yes. I do like this part work and I do appreciate it. I think it's brilliant. But I think they missed a trick getting a third party to make the sprues and stuff. Although having said that, yeah, if they'd done it GW style, they'd have charged full price. So this is probably why it's 1,100 quid worth of stuff for 800 quid, because we've not used official Games Workshop manufacturing processes probably. So you know, you want them cheap, you're gonna have some little cuts and stuff here and there. So I accept that. That's fine. But it's a shame. I've got to figure out where his flag is going. I didn't actually consider that, did I? That's a good point. I've not considered where this flag is going to go. I'm gluing him on the base and not even figured that out yet. Also, where's the other arm? Oh, it's already on there. That's going to go on there. Like that. That go on. There we go. I think. Wait. Need to make sure I've left enough space for flag. Yeah, that'll be fine. That will be fine. I've got news for you. There is no bathroom. I'm having steak and chips, says Nathan of the Nerds, and for supper even, but the best part will be the Angel Delight afterwards. Please tell me it's butterscotch. Oh, butterscotch Angel Delight. Oh, God, that's just food sex. Because all Angel Delight was terrible apart from butterscotch, which was just the best thing in the 1970s ever made. Same reason the quick builds are cheaper than regular sets of the same unit. Less bits and less build options equals cheaper kits, says Vincent. Yep, absolutely. Fox, did you do any voiceover for the Killing Floor games? I don't even know what the Killing Floor games are. Tell me what these are. I did voiceover for a Machinima once. Whoa! You'll see that in a second. Ashley Swan says, love being able to watch the streams, Foxy. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you very much, Ashley. 15 quid super chat. Massive thank you. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. I don't believe what anybody else says. You're a lovely, lovely lad. You're a lovely fella. Not true what they say about you. No, thank you very much, buddy. Absolutely very, very kind of you. Keeping this channel going. Thank you muchly. What was it up to? Lynn says, my dad was a double dip. His dad was also Dipple and his mum was also Dipple, but no relations. What are the odds, eh? Dipple. Little bit of glue. Remember, it's a load bearing joint, so I need to use the fat glue, the regular Tamiya glue, to glue it on first so it doesn't fall off. Just to get it in place like that, you see. And then what we need to do is go in with the extra thin. Touch that to the gap. Like I said before, the extra thin is a little more potent than the fat glue. But the fat glue is more sticky and viscous, so it'll hold things in place for a few seconds longer. Graham Robert, for polishing canopy, I use Maguire's Perfect Clarity Glass Polishing Compound and would recommend it. I have some in my box down here. I also was a detailer for many years, and yes, it does work. I know a lot of people that make model cars and vehicles and stuff, and they do the proper, like, you know, lacquer polish, lacquer clear coats and stuff that we talked about before. And they use proper auto detailing polishes. We were saying this last night, you know, not just like Meguiar's. There's like Meguiar's D300 is the medium cut. You've got, I can't remember the numbers now because it's been so many years, but there's like medium fine coarse, and there's the medium finish cuts and the cut and polish, and there's the one that's cut and polish. I can't put this. That is the head. I've got the glue on the bit and there's no bonds. Where's his bonds? I've mislaid a head somewhere. There is the bonds and Gefahren. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm missing an entire head somewhere. Is it on the floor now? Have I dropped it on the floor? Oh, and spilled coffee on it. Right, I've lost a head somewhere. Let me see if I can. It's on the floor somewhere. It may have escaped. Have a look and see. Come on, where's his bonds? Oh, I think I've got some spare Primaris heads anyway. I hope I have. Yeah. I can't. It's not. I can't see it. Is it still on the sprue? Have I not cut it off to sprue? I'm sure I did. Where's the sprue? Oh no, I didn't. Oh, there you go. Look at that. God darn it. I'm worried there for a minute. It's going to slow me down for a few moments. Lost his entire head there. No such luck. You, Tommy, the vote is not over yet. Right. Check the sprue, says Mordraka. Yes. Right, now, do I want to glue this arm on? Or is that going to make painting a chore for everything else? Let's have a look and see. If I attach the arm like that, can I still get to everything? But if I don't glue the arm on now, then is gluing it on afterwards going to be like an absolute cluster clunge? Actually, maybe not. Because the risk is you paint stuff first and then glue it together, of course. You get glue on the paint, you mess up your paint job, and that's a big risk sometimes that you don't want to take. It's not always... Well, I think I can get to most... I don't know. I don't know. I can... I'll leave it off for the time being. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's get this head sorted out. Where's my knife? Where's my knife? Daddy. Oh, there it is. All the way over there for no reason at all. Sub-assembly it, dude. Yeah, I probably will. It's just I don't want to risk gluing the arm on and getting glue on the arm and messing up the paint job, but I'm sure I'll be able to do that without messing it up. Clean up this bonce. Last minute head clean. Wait, that doesn't sound good at all. Some of your sayings when you do them are 100% match for some of the lines in the game when some events occur. The killing floor are FPS games that are only now being ported to consoles. I've never even heard of them, so I don't know. I don't know where I get some of my sayings. It's just stuff I make up or stuff I've heard. I don't know. I don't listen to myself when I talk, so I know nothing of such matters. Stupid AC came on and I can't hear the TV. I'm too lazy to grab it. Oh dear. I haven't got a little man in the corner doing signing, I'm afraid. And if I did, I'd have to pay him a lot, because by God, he'd be working 10 to the double. He'd be working more than is humanly possible. Anyway, yes, I had a question to ask you all. You know, I occasionally do I do my Skyrim on a Saturday, and I do game streams every now and then. I was thinking the other day, I mean yesterday, I was messing about in Fallout 4, and I wondered if there'd be any interest from you guys, as a one-off, if I just did a stream where I walked across or circumnavigated the Fallout 4 map of Boston in Fallout 4, but at actual walking speed, There's no running, no sprinting, no fast, just literally normal ambling walking speed. Because I can change the settings so I can set my walking speed to 25% of normal in the game, which actually comes out about normal ambling speed. Like if you're just ambling along and you're not walking fast, you're just ambling along. So it takes a while to get anywhere. So I would literally just be walking around from A to B, dealing with whatever came my way, not doing any quests or anything, but just enjoying the sound of the environment, the wind and the birds, and the sound of my feet crunching on the gravel and stuff, because there are some good sound effects there. And just ambling along, taking out anything that comes along the way. And also, not only done at real speed, so actual human walking speed, but also done real time. Basically, 1 minute in game is 1 minute in the real world. So if I start the stream at 9 AM and set the time in the game to 9 AM, then if I finish at 5 PM, it will be 5 PM in the real world and in the game. Because again, I've got a cheat thing and I can set that so it's actual real time. Because in reality, one minute in the real world is like about half an hour in the game or something like that. So it really literally means, if we start the game at 9 AM, it could be afternoon by the time we finish. I didn't know, because I was doing it the other night. And I was tweaking and messing about with the settings, and I set it to real walking speed, and it was kind of relaxing, just ambling along. And every now and then I'd take out a zombie or something, or I'd take out somebody passing by, or I'd have to shoot something, and I might come across a door and go in and see what's there. But it just made it interesting, with no option to run, so I can't run anywhere, and it was just relaxing. I was enjoying it, and it makes. If you play Fallout 4, you'll know that it's a big map, but it's not that big, and you kind of run around and you go from place to place, and after a while you've been everywhere, and it's not that interesting. But you'd be surprised if you just change it so you can't walk fast, you walk at normal speed. Suddenly you're spending time looking at the landscape, looking at the environment, and it actually makes it feel much bigger and much more interesting. I'm walking down a road and I'm walking along the pavement like I would in real life, and for me, it's just massively engaging and mesmerizing. Because I don't really play it in terms of let's go and fight some bad guys. It's more like let's just exist in this world. I've got graphics mods and stuff to make it look better, and I've got environmental audio mods, same as with Skyrim, to make it look and sound better. But I don't know. I just thought it'd be an idea. But if nobody is interested, I won't do it. But if anybody has the interest, if anybody would sit there and watch that for many hours, then I'll give it a go. I was even toying with doing it as I'll say that again in English. I was even toying with the idea of doing it as a no talking stream where I don't actually talk. I just literally maybe explain at the start and then off we go. All streamage is good streamage, says Quano Man. I get enough walkies at work, so I just want to chill on my day off, says Lynn. Oh, to Ian. Leave it unattached, have flat surfaces for the arm and the flag base to glue later. Yeah, I can probably get away with it. Hey Fox, hey chat, says Totomo Gaijin. Got a lot more time to go stir crazy now that they've been laid off. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Not exactly the best time to be out of a job. So I'm really sad to hear that, mate. But hopefully you get something soon when it all goes back to normal, hopefully. Fox is becoming a closet cockney, says Colin. No, I just love the way you say things and it becomes a habit for me to say it. Like, nobody says 4 candles like you do, and then I have to say it the same way. And it's just watching your videos when you're like, yeah, when you do something, it just becomes... It's a sign of appreciation that I riff on it. Diamond geezer, says Ian Thompson. Plus, my nephews are actually from Essex, so I've kind of learnt to get used to that accent in my own family anyway. I've said before, I'm a Cheshire lad. My brother's Cheshire lad. We both talk like this. My sister-in-law is from Hull, so she talks like with a Hull accent. And my nephews were born and raised in Chelmsford. So the first time I heard one of my nephews speak, he said, "Daddy, I need a knife." And I was like, what the Christ was that? How does that come out of a Hull and a Manchester accent? And then I realised, of course, it's just peer accents. It's what they learn from school. It was a bit of a shock coming out of someone whose parents are from Hull and from Cheshire. Daddy, I did a knife. Cut my dinner. Bless them. I love my nephews to bits. They make me laugh. Right, that's refusing to stick very well, but I shall give it more stickage. Where are we up to? I'd watch that, says Dan Kramer. RP Walk, says Totomo. Remember the no talkie bit, Fox, says Side. Yeah, that's not going to happen, is it? I thought that would be fun to do, but then I can't, because it really will just be a chance for you guys to hang out in chat without me waffling away. And it would all be about you guys in chat. It would just happen that I'm walking along. And maybe you're hanging out with your friends in chat, but at the same time, there's nice little sort of the sounds of me footsteps crunching and birds singing and occasional gunfire, you know. Fox is intending not to talk, guys. I think you should talk. What are your opinions so you can gauge interest? I just had the idea. I wasn't thinking of... I probably would do the talking, but I toyed with the idea. Defo with chat. I agree, dude. Maybe not as much chat as normal, but some chat sporadically would be ideal for me personally. Lewis senses buys. He has to shoot straight before he runs out of time. It says Nat Williamson. Take care, Lewis. Drive safe. Full handle, says Lynn. Ian Thompson says 1, 2, 3, laughing. Lynn says Fox will do talk. Yeah, I'll do talk. Talk will happen. Right, that is that chap done. Look at this. Look at this. I've done something on time and on schedule, even though it's taken me 6 weeks. It's on schedule for the end of this show anyway. Shut up. Right, so that is... Now... There we go. That is... I'm going to face this all, get more facing you. That is... what issue is that? That was issue 56 of the Warhammer Conquestings. Let's tick it off as done. I have to tick them off so I make sure I don't make them all again. That was issue 56 of the Warhammer Conquests. So, next up, of course, after issue 56, of course, what we have is issue 59, which is some more Space Marine reinforcements. So we'll be carrying on with them next time. What? See, issue 56, and then issue 59, see? It's the next thing along. What? It's the next thing. So we'll be doing that next time. Oh dear. Yes, so anyway, we'll crack on with that next time. Whether that's going to be on Sunday for Warhammer Sunday, or maybe if I can fit another stream in during the week, I don't know. I do like doing these, but I am conscious of everybody else doing streams. I don't want to step on other people's toes too much. Some people I don't care, and some people I don't want to step on the toes. So, we'll see how it goes. So we might get another stream during the week. If not, we'll definitely crack on Sunday. I'll just take that. But thank you very much for watching. It's been very, very kind of you. Thank you for that super chat. That was also very, very kind. Yeah, we'll crack on. What is day? Is it day? Wednesday today. Tomorrow is Chris's hanging out with the gang stream. I don't know if it's open to everybody or just patrons only tomorrow, but maybe Chris can clarify if he's still in chat. I will, of course, like I say, be back on Saturday for Skyrim Saturday. If I do go for that Fallout thing, I don't know. What was the decision in the end? I don't know. I might do it later on this week. We'll see. We'll fit it in. It might be like 9 hours long because it'll take a long time to walk across the map. So we'll see. Stay tuned on that. Oh, got something in my eye. I've got that itchy eyeball. If you always wonder why I sound distracted in a stream, why it's because I'm thinking about his food. I need to make sure my buttons still work. Yes, buttonage is accurate. So yes, I'll be back on Saturday with Skyrim Saturday and back on Sunday with Warhammer Sunday. What else? I say I am hoping to. I keep trying to get lots of Falcon build stuff done, but I am struggling. Like I said before, I am struggling right now with the mojo. So yeah, this kind of helps me get a bit of the mojo motivated, but it is a struggle right now for various reasons that I won't necessarily go into. But yes, anyway, I shall leave it there. Have a quick last look at chat. Anything interesting? Birdsong and gunfire, says Tato. Yeah, the delicate sounds of the wind and the birds in the trees and the gust going across the landscape and the sound of little bits of debris blowing along the broken up blacktop and the crunch of my boots on the gravel as I walk from the blacktop to the grass and gunfire. Wow, Fox finally finished something. Why, I order. 56, then 59, they forgot 58. Yeah, I must have done. Cheers for keeping us company, matey, says Colin. Absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming in. Won't be around worky, says Lynn. Oh, well, we do like it whenever you can get to us, dude. Tatemo Gauging says, itchy eyeball.
Slap it on.
There you go. Played Skyrim yesterday, already level 8, says Paul. Cool, oh, yeah, because you just got it, haven't you? Yes, it's good fun. You'll like it. Thanks, Fox. Glad I could catch the show. Bye. Sorry I can't catch Chris's show, says Lynn. Tomorrow. Wednesday night. What's on a Wednesday night? I can't remember. Remind me in chat what's on a Wednesday night. Chronoman apparently writes no words whatsoever. Just a blank comment from Chronoman there. It doesn't make sense, but I needed to see the clip. What do you mean that?
Slap it on.
That's Ted. Our good friend Ted from our remodel streams. I think he was describing applying mud to effects to a tank. At one point, he was just slap it on, and it became that's his thing now. So yes, that's Ted. Graham says Chicken Maryland on the bench. Oh, food. Right, don't talk about food. I need to go make food. Quanoman's message was deleted by Cy Reynolds. I fixed Quano's comment. Yes, absolutely. Power. I don't think Cy has actually used his mod powers before. Power. But that's all of it. Yes, anyway, I shall leave it there. I'm going to go and make my noodle bolognese, which isn't bolognese, but it'll be nice. There was something else I was going to tell you, but I can't remember what that was, but I'm sure it was awesome. Anyway, Lewis, enjoy your Baneblade. Oh, he's not here anymore. Never mind. Moving on. Yes, take care of yourselves. Don't forget, of course, be safe. Don't be stupid. If you don't need to go out, don't go out. Stay safe. Stay isolated. It's the best thing to do. Wash your hands. All that nonsense. I shall see you all soon. But until then, I shall say, go make something awesome. Like this little fairy circle of evil, shouty spacemen. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You're already awesome. You know you're already awesome. And I shall say, adios, amoebas. Take care. Be safe.